In the past, getting married to a lord was wholly different from staying by the lord's side to serve him. Jia Yang would surely understand Su Ning's meaning. He exchanged a glance with Nai Xinchuan, a hint of hesitation flitting through their eyes, but in the end, they helplessly nodded. Jia Yang thanks Lord Su. Su Ning had just put it so plainly. If they still did not agree, they would truly be lacking in discernment. There was no embellishment in what Su Shicheng had just said. Just with the over 300 people who had arrived tonight from Great Xia, there would be no issue in taking them down. All right, Brother Jai is indeed straightforward. Then there's no time to lose. The 7 families can now go back to count the people and pack their things. Moreover, please each form a temporary guard team. Tonight, I'll first lead people to station at Wanlong Camp. Tomorrow night, we'll start escorting your relocation along with the guards. It took more than 3 months of negotiations, with the 7 families of Songyang Ridge to finally conclude. Su Ning was extremely excited at this moment, with joy all over his face. As long as it's annexation and expansion, whether there's a war or not, the headquarters would reward military merit and contribution value. The key minister values battle damage greatly. The smaller the battle damage, the greater the reward. Thus, for them, completing annexation and expansion without warfare naturally maximizes benefits. This is the reason for Su Ning's excitement at this moment. Of course, not just Su Ning, but also Lin Kai, Zhao Bao, Yu Bin, and even Su Shicheng, who had just looked furious, couldn't help but show joy on their faces, let alone the elite hunting teams at the back. Jia Yang, Nai Xinchuan, and others from Songyang Ridge, uncertain about their future, had expressions that seemed somewhat despondent and lost. Su Ning saw it but did not comfort them, for he knew that their despondence and loss at the moment would soon dissipate quickly as they reached Xia City and saw everything in Great Xia. Great Xia, Year 3, August 12. Just as Su Ning had previously thought, the moment Jia Yang, Nai Xinchuan, Wang He, and others, a total of 14 people, led the first batch of migrating people from Songyang Ridge to Xia City, their expressions instantly turned bewildered. They hadn't even entered the city. Just seeing that grand city wall stretching for 4 kilometers filled their eyes with an undeniable shock. Old Jai, look at those people under the city gate. Upon hearing Nai Xinchuan's reminder, Jia Yang hurriedly looked towards the city gate. What he saw added a few more hints of amazement on top of his already shocked expression. There were more than 100 people under the city gate, clearly guards. The problem was, their attire was identical to the over 300 elites Su Ning brought to Songyang Ridge this time. 100 forged armor, 100 forged level weapons, and all at the earth-digging realm limit cultivation. It turned out that the 300 people Su Ning took to Songyang Ridge 4 days ago were not elite forces. Even the gate guards of Great Xia had earth-digging realm limit cultivation. Oh, Su Ning is back from Huayuan. Coincidentally, a group of people also walked out from inside the city. The man leading them wore the same dark red regular uniform as Su Ning. Upon seeing Su Ning from afar, he immediately brought over 40 people with a smile, raising an eyebrow as he looked at Jia Yang and others, and asked Su Ning, "Are these the people from Songyang Ridge?" Su Ning greets the deputy director. The man was Luo Yuan. Su Ning first made a hand salute, then nodded, pointed to Luo Yuan, and introduced him to Jia Yang and others. "This is Lord Luo Yuan, the deputy director of the Daxia Hunting Department." The 14 people following Su Ning, including Jia Yang and Nai Xinchuan, already had shock on their faces. They couldn't even feel Luo Yuan's prowess. The issue was that of the 50 people behind Luo Yuan, there were actually 13 with cold resistance level auras. Just how many cold resistance levels does Great Xia have? Jia Yang and others were too stunned in their hearts, so much so that they forgot to salute Luo Yuan. Luo Yuan didn't mind that much, and looking at Jia Yang and others, he suddenly remembered something, chuckling as he teased Su Ning. "Are these the ones sending women to the Lord? I heard Su Shicheng sent someone back the day before yesterday to tattle in front of the wife. Su Ning, you're in for a scolding this time." Hearing this, Su Ning showed a wry smile. While he had anticipated Su Shicheng would report back, the quickness was a little unexpected. "I didn't even agree. I only promised to send them to the wife. If she doesn't like them, she can just send them back." "Haha, pretty clever. But now that you've sent them over, can the wife refuse? From my perspective, the wife must hate you this time. No matter what, these kinds of things offend people. Next time, just brush it off directly and you'll be right." Hearing from Luo Yuan that he was already hated by the wife, Su Ning's expression grew uneasy, and the initially great mood of returning to Xia City with major accomplishments also dimmed somewhat. "All right, not scaring you anymore, haha. I'm off hunting, see you later." Luo Yuan waved a hand, taking everyone away and leaving Su Ning standing there with apprehensive feelings. "Lord Su, we apologize for causing you trouble." Having listened for a while, Jai Yang felt more uneasy than Su Ning. Once Luo Yuan left, he immediately stepped forward with Nai Xinchuan to apologize to Su Ning. "It's fine, let's enter the city, it's merely a few reproaches." Su Ning shook his head. Since he had done it, he wouldn't regret it. Moreover, he hadn't done anything excessive, so Li Xuanling shouldn't blame him too much. Tonight, the first batch of migrating people consisted of the core members of the 7 families from Songyang Ridge, totaling over 500 people. After passing the city gate commander's screening, they gradually followed and entered the city. Chapter 877, Chapter 335, Songyang Ridge, 7 houses surrender, first batch of silver arrives. The wide and spacious main avenue, the various precious trees transplanted along the street, the stand-alone buildings on either side of the street built with a mix of wood, iron, stone, and coming and going pedestrians occasionally exuding the aura of the cold resistance level. The scenery within the city constantly dazzled Jai Yang and the others, leaving them in awe repeatedly. "Xia City seems very crowded now. I guess it's not far from expansion." Su Ning observed the somewhat crowded houses in the West District, furrowed his brows slightly, made a brief remark with a hint of sigh, and continued walking forward with Jai Yang and the others. After covering about 300 meters, they soon saw a tall building. The outer city is divided into the East, South, West, and North districts. Your group of 500 will likely be spread across different districts according to your household registration. This tall building is the government office of the West District. I've already sent someone to inform them in advance, and soon someone will come to take you inside. Once you're assigned to a district, you can go there yourself. Since you're new here, after being allocated to your respective jurisdiction, you'll likely be placed in unified temporary large wooden huts. If you want to live in a standalone wooden building like others, you have to earn contribution value, buy land from the camp's supply department, and then build a house. Seeing Jai Yang and the others staring at the standalone houses along the street, Su Ning was well aware of what they were thinking. "May I ask, Lord Su, how much contribution value does a plot of land in the West District require?" For the 20,000 people from Longyu who came to Xia City less than a year ago, there were already many houses under construction in the city. Jai Yang and the others had seen them upon entering the city, hence they directly inquired about the land prices at this moment. Su Ning's family resides in inner city number 15. He was evidently unfamiliar with the outer city. He answered based on memory, "I'm not very clear. It should be around 7,000 to 10,000 points. Craftsmen are divided into 3 grades, with corresponding prices of 900, 600, and 300 points, respectively. The upper limit for materials is high. If you use only wood, it might not even require 200 points. However, now in Xia City, there are hardly any pure wooden houses left. A bit of iron slurry must be used. More advanced ones use green stone brought from Beimeng Mountain mixed with iron slurry. A well-designed house would probably require over 10,000 contribution value." What Lord Su said is outdated. The land prices in the West District have risen to over 15,000. Su Ning was suddenly interrupted, turning to see someone walking out of the tall building, and a smile appeared on his face. The newcomer was Li Longkai, who is now the chief of civil affairs in the West District of the outer city. Su Ning's earlier arrangement was to contact him. Su Ning is the 5 Originals Guardian, a subordinate position within the Garrison Department, classified as 4th rank according to Great Xia's grading system. It is equivalent in status to the Medicine Lord, Mountain Yu, Military Preparation, Chief of Punishment, Construction Chief, which is the heads of the other 6 departments. However, when Yue Feng proposed the position of Defender, he said that during wartime, the Guardian Department had the authority to command the other 6 departments. So technically, the Defender holds slightly more power than the others. Li Longkai was well aware of this principle, so he immediately saluted Su Ning. Su Ning wouldn't be arrogant, quickly returned the salute, and upon reflecting on Li Longkai's statement about the West District's land price exceeding 15,000, he curiously asked, "Why is it so expensive when the West District is closest to the city gate?" Xia City is built along the west side cliff of Twin Dragon Mountain, naturally opening the city gate to the west. This means the West District is closest to the city gate. By nature, everyone would feel the closer to the inner city, the safer. Hence, the land prices in the East District, closest to inner city, are the most expensive, while the West Districts are relatively cheaper. Li Longkai's face showed a touch of worry, shaking his head. There's no choice. Xia City's population is too large. Last month, over 80,000 people from Baiyuan moved in, and the city clearly couldn't handle it. Without adjusting the land prices, it can't possibly meet the demand for so many people building houses. This time you've brought in 110,000 people, so undoubtedly the West District's land price will surge again. If we let everyone build houses, there simply isn't enough space in the city. I see. Recalling the crowded scene upon entering the city, Su Ning immediately understood. Before the integration of Baiyuan in July, Xia City already had 420,000 people. Once it was integrated, the population immediately exceeded 500,000. This time, he brought back 11,000 people from Songyang Ridge, making Xia City's total population now over 600,000. Xia City should also expand. The Lord will definitely think of a way. Having stayed in Xia City all along, Li Longkai clearly had information that was more up-to-date than Su Ning. Hearing this, he immediately smiled and said, "There's already a plan. Last time I heard from the minister, the Lord mentioned that expansion at the latest would start by the end of the year, but it's still uncertain how large it will be." Expanding how large? Su Ning smiled and said, "In my opinion, expanding it tenfold wouldn't be excessive. Xia City's population could break 1 million, even several million in the future. Expanding it larger once saves trouble later." Li Longkai agreed with a nod, eyes full of approval. Jai Yang and the other Songyang Ridge folks, hearing the conversation between the two, had long shown expressions of numbness. 1 million, several million. This was indeed too ahead of their time. "All right, you all follow me. Cloud Dragon Army returning to camp. Everyone make way quickly. Cloud Dragon Army returning to camp. Everyone make way quickly." Li Longkai was just about to lead Jai Yang and the others into the Civil Affairs Department for registration, but before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by the loud shout coming from the main avenue. As the voice continually resounded, pedestrians on the street dispersed to the sides, clearing the middle of the main avenue. The tall building of the West District's jurisdiction was located on the left side of the main avenue, so Jai Yang and the 500 others were currently standing on the main avenue. Chapter 878, Chapter 335, Songyang Ridge, 7 houses surrender, first batch of silver arrives. Everyone move to the sides and make way for the army to pass. Don't just stand there. Brother Jai, quickly lead them away, the army will be here soon. Li Longkai and Su Ning, hearing the voice, swiftly addressed the group at Songyang Ridge. Jai Yang and the others were somewhat at a loss, but they quickly led more than 500 people to the sides of the street, then curiously looked towards the direction of the West City Gate. At this sight, Jai Yang and the 500 others were instantly shocked to their cores. Thud, thud, thud. A fully armored army of 1,000 troops marched with heavy, synchronized steps from the direction of the West City Gate. Just like the soldiers Jai Yang and the others had seen earlier at the city gate, these 1,000 men were clad in light golden 100 forged battle armor. However, they differed significantly from those soldiers, as each exuded a thick aura of murderous intent, converging together almost to a palpable presence. Their armor and weapons were stained with dark green or bright red blood, clearly from within the cold beasts. All of them, all have earth-digging realm limit cultivation. What earth-digging realm limit? Look at the front 100, those holding different weapons, 1, 2, 3, 39, 40 gulp. 40 at the cold resistance level. How is this possible? Almost everyone has started reshaping skin this. Quick, look at what they're carrying at the back. Rodents, they're rodents, high-level rodents as many as 18. There's also a lot of intermediate rodents, almost over 100. Look at what is loaded on that big cart in the middle, such a bright silver glow, it's not iron ore, that's silver, it's silver, that whole big cart, it's all silver. Oh yeah. The first batch to migrate to Xia City tonight were mostly the core members of the 7 families from Songyang Ridge. Compared to ordinary people, they were clearly more knowledgeable, not only recognizing the high-level rodents, but also realizing that the carts escorted by the Cloud Dragon Army were filled with silver. At this moment, Jai Yang and the other cold resistance levels were all speaking in trembling voices. Especially following, Su Ning and Li Longkai's question and answer made their bodies shiver intensely. Silver, did the minister lead the army to find a silver mine and start excavation? No, it was 7 days ago. Chen Ying found it on the mountain wall's north slope. He was lucky. That silver mine was only occupied by one rodent tribe. The Lord was exceedingly pleased upon learning this and immediately ordered Yuan Sijang's dragon martial army to return from Long Mountain, joined by the minister's cloud dragon army and Yuan Sijang's dragon slayer army. By the 6th of the month, the three armies went to clear out that group of rodents. It's estimated that the cleansing was completed a few days ago, and this should be the first batch of silver extracted, which the Cloud Dragon Army brought back. The Dragon Martial Army and the Dragon Slayer Army are still there. Such an army, Great Xia actually has 2 more. All right, Brother Jai, you follow Mr. Li inside. I need to report back to the minister now. Mr. Li, see you later. Sure, see you later. Even after the army walked past, Jai Yang and the more than 500 others took a long time to recover their senses. It was only when Su Ning bid farewell that their thoughts were pulled back to the present. Leader Jai, right, come in with me. Mr. Li, please don't call me that, just call me Jai Yang. Jai Yang finally let go of the conflict in his heart. Hearing Li Longkai's address, he was so startled he repeatedly waved his hands, lowering his stance to the extreme. Nai Xinchuan and the cold resistance levels from the other 5 camps were even more so. Chapter 879, Chapter 336, Cultivation, Enlightenment Lotus Platform, Major Building Upgrades. The 3rd year of the Great Xia, August 12th. Deep within the inner city, behind the main building, lies the Star-Picking Hall. The Star-Picking Hall stretches only 30 meters long, at most a third of the front main building, but as its height matches that of the main building and is constructed 30 meters above it, coupled with its small area and densely arranged coal furnaces, providing more light sources, it ends up looking even more imposing and luxurious than the main building. Especially since 7 days ago, after Li Chuanling successfully gave birth, Xia Hong took the holy tripod from her room and placed it at the top of the open platform in the center, undoubtedly adding a divine aura to the entire Star-Picking Hall. Atop the Star-Picking platform, Xia Hong sat cross-legged in front of the cold ruins tripod, staring at the Yang Yuan elixir in his hand, furrowing his brows. 50 TWO Chinese letter, only gained FOUR Chinese letter in 8 months. Indeed, the further I go, the slower the cultivation speed. Previous breakthroughs over 3 years were overly optimistic. At this rate, it might take 4 or 5 years. Having spent less than 5 years in this world, thinking that it'd take this long to break through to the peak of cold resistance, Xia Hong's face was immediately filled with worry. Cold resistance level, power measured by Chinese letter, sounds strong, but ultimately, it's just the initial qualification to glimpse the daylight of the ice abyss world. It might be decent on the Pinxi Plain, but in a larger region, it surely isn't significant, and in the whole ice abyss world, it's even smaller. Not to mention the so-called 9 towns of Mo Mountain. Surely there are many at the cold resistance level, perhaps even stronger ones. Breaking through the peak of cold resistance takes 4 to 5 years, and after that, completing the 3rd round of blood and flesh reorganization, is when we begin striving for the Xianyang level. According to Li Tiancheng and Hu Jing, it's about inducing medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing, a process even slower by hundreds of times than the previous one. I certainly can't wait until I'm 50 or 60 to break through. With Hu Jing and Li Tiancheng at the peak of cold resistance, Xia Hong had the fortune to learn some about the Xianyang level, mainly from Li Tiancheng's brother, Li Tianhua, who spoke of inducing medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing. Li Tiancheng's description seemed somewhat ambiguous, which makes sense, as Li Tianhua left Long Mountain 4 years ago without breaking through to the Xianyang level, so how much could Li Tiancheng know from him? No wonder Li Tianhua hasn't broken through to the Xianyang level at over 90 years old. My talent surpasses his, and it still takes so long to reach the peak of cold resistance. If I don't think of a solution, it might take me until 50 or 60 as well. Tusk. Xia Hong glanced at the cold ruins tripod behind him, sighing slightly. It's worth noting he cultivated within the radiation range of the cold ruins tripod, which provides a triple cultivation boost akin to having a martial arts hall, coupled with an unlimited supply of Yang Yuan elixir, and yet the cultivation progress is this slow. One can only imagine how it is for others. His so-called solution naturally refers to the camp system. The 7th day, The first batch of silver mine should be returned soon. The earth-digging realm limit's daily mining capacity is only about 100 jin, summing up to roughly 1.2 million jin over 4 days. Converted into the system, it's precisely 240,000 silver resource points, enough to upgrade all 7 buildings, with the little wooden table finally ready for activation, hastening the cultivation speed a bit more. Despite having assigned the silver mine entirely to Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, and Yuan Cheng, Xia Hong couldn't help but worry, personally overseeing the operation the next day, gaining considerable knowledge about the silver mine situation. Silver mine exploitation is much harder than iron mine, starting with tools requiring intermediate chewing teeth chisels. Additionally, miners need a basic strength of over 20,000 jin just to qualify for preliminary excavation, due to silver's higher toughness and strength compared to iron. Xia Chuan has tried, and with a basic strength of 20,000 jin, can only extract 1 piece a day, weighing around 30 jin, while the earth-digging realm limit barely mines 100 jin. Meanwhile, silver mines strongly attract cold beasts, which frequently come to invade. These cold beasts don't act individually, necessitating constant vigilance against sudden attacks from cold beast groups during mining. The Cold Ruins tripod can be used to deter and eliminate deceitful monsters. Silver can too, both strongly attracting cold beasts. There must be some connection. Xia Hong pondered, walked to the storage compartment behind the star-picking platform, and retrieved a special frost wolf's corpse. This frost wolf, over a meter long, had a coat with a moonlit silver-white glow in the night, complemented by a gleaming circle of spikes on its neck, and though its eyes were void of luster, the black pupils could faintly be discerned inside. This frost wolf's beast king level cultivation likely was artificially enhanced by the white Dugu. Aside from the abnormal protrusion on its brow, the silver crystal layer on its bone's exterior, most other parts aren't much different from an advanced frost wolf. Such a pity, had it been a genuine beast king level frost wolf, it might have revealed more. Xia Hong shook his head slightly, realizing his thoughts were somewhat unrealistic. If this frost wolf king had been genuinely of beast king level cultivation, the outcome of that night at Yanglu Realm might have been dire. Over the past 8 months since the end of last year, Xia Hong has roughly explored this quasi-beast king-level frost wolf. The prominence on the brow is clearly an unformed round bone pill, coupled with the silver crystal encapsulating the bone's exterior. Hence, for advanced cold beasts to achieve beast king, it likely involves bone refinement, unlike humans. Their method is consuming silver, which is why cold beast clans tend to dwell on silver mines. Chapter 880, Chapter 336, Cultivation, Enlightenment Lotus Platform, Major Building Upgrades. This is not a baseless speculation. The rodents in the Beipo silver mine on the mountainside have been dealt with by Xia Chuan leading the army. 5 days ago, Xia Hong personally sliced open the belly of a high-level rodent there and saw the silver that hadn't been fully digested. If that's the case, it means that all silver mines, as long as they're occupied by the Cold Beast clan, have a high probability of producing beast kings. The ones that already exist might give birth to more. This means that the 2 new silver mines Li Tiancheng and Hu Jing discovered this year, plus the 2 original ones in Long Mountain, are like 4 ticking time bombs, if not dealt with in time, once the cold beasts become strong. Thinking of this, Xia Hong's brow furrowed slightly, and he felt an increased sense of urgency. Just then, the voice of the maid Han Yue came from below. "Lord Minister has returned. He is waiting for you in the political hall." Finally back. Xia Hong's eyes instantly lit up with joy, quickly got up, and hurriedly walked down the star-picking platform towards the main building. "Big brother, the first batch of silver is all here, totaling 1,096,247 pounds. Upon entering the political hall in the main building, Xia Hong was immediately drawn to the 11 boxes of silver ores in the middle of the hall, paying little attention to Xia Chuan's words and quickly stepping forward, directly picking up a piece of silver roughly half the size of an adult's fist, his expression subtly brightened. During the Longyu battle, Great Xia exchanged 400 pounds of silver from Zhejiang and Long Mountain using the solidified fire oil, so Xia Hong was not entirely unfamiliar with silver. Under equal volume, silver is about 4 times the weight of iron ore, so the piece the size of half a fist weighed over 80 pounds. Small in volume, heavy in quality, combined with its super strong toughness and hardness, silver is evidently more suitable for casting weapons than iron ore, especially for those at cold resistance level exceeding 1 main. Xia was clearly excited, evidently aware of the value of this batch of silver ore. Casting weapons. Xia Hong slightly raised his eyebrows, with a hint of smile on his face. For now, that might not be possible. By the way, what is Mu Dong's estimate of the output? Great Xia has extracted iron ore from dozens of veins, and Mu Dong long since figured out a way to estimate the output of ore veins, basically getting it almost right. 5 days ago, upon acquiring the silver mine, Xia Hong immediately sent Mu Dong to estimate the total output. Upon hearing this, Xia expression immediately dropped, saying solemnly, "The output is estimated to be between 50,000 to 70,000 tons. It's a miniature silver mine." The craftsman department classifies the ore veins based on estimated output. Below 100,000 tons is miniature. 100,000 to 500,000 tons is small. 500,000 to 3 million tons is medium. 3 million to 10 million tons is large. Over 10 million tons is a giant ore vein. Currently, no giant ore veins have been found within Great Xia territory. The highest estimated output of the 3 large iron mines, 2 in Long Mountain, 1 in Redwood Ridge. Upon hearing it's a miniature ore vein, Xia Hong's face did not show any surprise. He had a premonition 7 days ago when he first saw the silver mine. Regardless, this silver mine was already a pleasant surprise from the heavens. Having it at all is good fortune. Who has the right to be picky? Moreover, 50,000 tons is 100 million pounds. If it can all be converted into system silver resources, that's 20 million points. Isn't that a lot? Besides, the earth-digging realm limit's daily mining capacity is just around 100 pounds. Great Xia currently has over 4,000 earth-digging realm limits. Even if all are sent to mine, it's just 400,000 pounds a day. 50,000 tons will take 8 to 9 months to mine. The earth-digging realm limit as the backbone of Great Xia currently, sending them all to mine is clearly unrealistic. So based on the camp's current development trajectory, Xia Hong expects it will take at least 3 to 5 years to mine this silver mine. It's enough, weapon forging has to wait, and your 3 armies can't all be stuck there mining. How about this? Leave 1 army there and also inform Q Peng. Let the camp supply department change the monthly iron ore quota to a lower proportion of silver ore for the earth-digging realm limit, and those whose basic strength exceeds 20,000 pounds, encourage them to mine. Understood, big brother. After speaking, Xia Hong directly reached for the first crate, and the approximately 10,000 pounds of silver ore in the box instantly disappeared. Big brother, you're going to perform a miracle again. Seeing this, Xia face showed no surprise, even hinted at some anticipation. Xia Hong's ability to absorb various resources to upgrade those special buildings within Xia City was no secret in the camp. Not just Xia, those great Xia people who had witnessed the buildings, upgrades called it a miracle wrought by Lord Xia Hong. Martial arts hall that enhances cultivation speed, medicine workshop, identifying drugs and automatically performing alchemy, artifact refining workshop that crafts beast-suppressing attribute weapons, the resilient black soil wall appearing out of nowhere, yellow earth that boosts transplant success rates, heroic spirit monument to monitor stationed areas, and most crucially, that holy tripod. If these aren't miracles, then what are? These miracles are the reason for Great Xia today, including everyone like Xia having ardent feelings towards Xia Hong, the Lord. Putting aside Xia thoughts for now, Xia Hong over here, looking at his brand new resource panel, his eyes brightened, extremely excited. Resources: wood 19,724 million coal, 12,762 million iron, 1421 million silver 20 million. Finally, 5 years since arriving in this world, Xia Hong has achieved initial silver freedom, the only unseen resource being gold. Currently unlocked Building 7, Cold Ruins Tripod Level 4, Martial Arts Hall Level 3, Medicine Workshop Level 3, Artifact Refining Workshop Level 3, Black Soil Wall Level 2, Heroic Spirit Monument Level 3, Yellow Earth Level 1. Chapter 881. Chapter 336. Cultivation, Enlightenment Lotus Platform, Major Building Upgrades. An open building 2, small wooden desk, rough iron chain. Xia Hong didn't rush to upgrade the other 7 already open buildings, but instead focused on the last 2 unopened buildings. Small wooden desk, opening conditions, 10,000 iron, 3,000 silver. His mind stirred slightly, and the system resources immediately decreased. Just like the first time opening a building, a white light appeared before him. After a long time, the white light disappeared, and a black four-cornered desk appeared out of thin air in front of him. Small wooden desk, level 1, cultivation auxiliary tool. Special function, doubles the user's cultivation speed. Consumption, 20 silver per day. Upgrade conditions, 100,000 iron, 20,000 silver. Seeing the simple description of the small wooden desk, Xia Hong was momentarily stunned. Then, recalling the descriptions of the other 8 buildings when they were first unlocked, he immediately reacted and without hesitation, proceeded with consecutive upgrades. The small wooden desk was enveloped by 3 bursts of white light, finally transforming into a 5-meter-tall silver 12-petal lotus platform in front of him. Enlightenment Lotus Platform Level 4, Cultivation Auxiliary Tool. Special Function 1, can increase the user's cultivation speed by 5 times. Consumption, 50 silver per day. Special Function 2, can enter an epiphany state, greatly enhancing comprehension, limited to once a month, requiring 50,000 silver resources. Special Function 3, can enter the Lotus platform space to extrapolate cultivation techniques and martial arts, costing 5,000 silver each time, no usage limit. Special Function 4, can perform skill enhancement, limited to once a year, requiring 100,000 silver, with a maximum success rate of 20% based on the user's skill level. Upgrade consumption, 150,000 silver, 8,000 gold. After reading the description of the Enlightenment Lotus platform, Xia Hong took a deep breath, his eyes full of joy and emotion. Even though he didn't quite understand the 4th function, and the terrifying consumption of 100,000 silver could only yield a 20% success rate, it nearly discouraged him from using this function in the short term. However, the first 3 function descriptions made his heart race with excitement. 5-fold cultivation speed, a monthly epiphany, and entering the Lotus platform space to extrapolate cultivation techniques and martial arts. These 3 functions perfectly compensated for all his cultivation issues, arriving at just the right moment. Small wooden desk, I had guessed it had something to do with cultivation and education. As expected, according to the pattern that the greater the resources consumed, the stronger the function, the most powerful function of the Enlightenment Lotus platform should be the 4th one, skill enhancement. Could it really be what I'm thinking? Evidently, Xia Hong's mind had connected some dots, and a trace of emotion flickered in his eyes. But seeing the terrifying consumption of 100,000 silver per use and the subsequent 20% success rate, he quickly calmed himself down. No, it's not feasible to be so wasteful for now, at least not until the silver mine has been mined for a while. Just wait a bit longer. Resources: 197.24 million wood, 127.62 million coal, 12.5 million iron, 27,000 silver. From the level 1 small wooden desk to the level 4 Enlightenment Lotus platform, a total of 173,000 silver and an astonishing 1.71 million iron were consumed. Fortunately, the remaining 7 buildings, except for the black soil wall and yellow earth, require little silver to upgrade from level 3 to level 4. However, Xia Hong didn't rush to upgrade. Instead, he turned to Xia Chuan and solemnly instructed, "I need silver, a lot of silver. Lead the Cloud Jiao army back to the silver mine, and along with the Long Wu and Chelong armies, continue full-scale mining for a month. After a month, resume normal mining levels." Understood, big brother. Seeing Xia Hong's serious expression, Xia Chuan nodded heavily immediately. Oh, by the way, the people from Songyang Ridge have agreed to merge in. I heard there are a total of 110,000 people over there. Isn't Xia City already running out of space? Xia Hong, upon checking the system earlier, noticed that the population had already reached a staggering 510,000 and asked immediately. Upon hearing this, Xia Chuan nodded and replied, "The outer city 4 districts are already full. We can only increase land prices to minimize land use, encouraging more people to reside together. But even this method is ineffective. Once the 110,000 from Songyang Ridge merge in, there might not even be enough temporary log houses. We need another round of expansion, and the city walls also need replacing. I have a plan, but you should go attend to your affairs first." "Yes, sir." Xia Chuan bowed and departed, leaving Xia Hong standing alone in the political hall, his gaze gradually heating up as he looked at the medicine workshop, artifact refining workshop, and martial arts academy behind the main building. Chapter 882, Chapter 337, Major Changes in Xia City, the wealthiest person in Great Xia. Great Xia Year 3, September 5th. Whoa, this must be the handiwork of the Lord. Lu Yang, just returned from Hankyang, brushed the snowflakes off his hat brim and looked up at the grand city gate, over 30 meters high. He then turned to the endlessly stretching black iron walls on either side, couldn't help but take a deep breath, and immediately realized that such a transformation could only be the work of the Lord. In early July, he had returned to Xia City once, and it wasn't like this back then. He had already tested the wall from the north. Even the basic strength of someone at EIGHT Chinese letter could only leave slight dents on it. In just 2 months, with the current manpower of Xia City, it was impossible to achieve this. There was only one explanation. Xia Hong had once again demonstrated his miraculous methods. Lu Yang couldn't think of any other possibility. Indeed, as he speculated, Hong Yu, the city gate commander on duty tonight, nodded and said, "It must be the handiwork of the Lord." On the 10th of last month, the minister announced the expansion plan for Xia City, and the next day we came out at night and saw the changes to the city wall. We veterans were fine, but the newcomers from Longyu and the 2 batches from Songyang Ridge believed it was divine intervention and immediately knelt down and worshipped. Mentioning that night of the 11th, there was an undeniable excitement deep in Hong Yu's eyes, clearly revealing his state of mind at that time was not much lighter than those from Longyu and Songyang Ridge. The western wall traverses 20 kilometers from north to south. The north and south walls are each 15 kilometers, reaching 10 kilometers into Redwood Ridge. The southern wall is only 3 kilometers from the Xing River, and the northern wall directly encompasses part of the Arrow Bamboo Forest. The expanded Xia City is extraordinarily magnificent. I predict even the renowned 9 towns of Mo Mountain cannot compare to it. Lu Yang had already conceptualized the scale of the city walls before leaving the Arrow Bamboo Forest, so he wasn't surprised when hearing Hong Yu's explanation. However, upon hearing Hong Yu's final statement, his eyebrows rose slightly, and he smiled with excitement, saying, "No need to guess. The city scale of the 9 towns of Mo Mountain is definitely not as large as our Xia City." Hearing Lu Yang's certainty, a trace of puzzlement appeared on Hong Yu's face. Lu Yang was clearly not inclined to elaborate. He glanced up at the newly added tower above the city wall and then at the 100 or so golden-armored soldiers below the city gate. With a smile to Hong Yu, he said, "As the city gate commander, you are now more prestigious than the leader of an advanced hunting team. I hear that next year, the position of city gate commander will be ranked at least at the 6th rank, if not higher. Is what you say true, sir?" Hong Yu, clearly unaware of this news, was taken aback. Lu Yang smiled and nodded. "It's no big secret, just ask your father when you get back." During the June martial arts competition, the minister mentioned including more positions into the ranks. Xia City now has over 500,000 people. The responsibilities of the city gate commander are increasingly important. Being ranked is definitely no issue. He paused for a moment and continued, "You city guards are technically part of the military ranks, so the position of city gate commander should be placed under the newly established military department. The Lord once said that when Great Xia has 5 armies of 1,000 men each, they would officially establish a military department. Currently, with Yun Jiao, Long Wu, and Chalong, only 2 are missing. At Great Xia's current development speed, establishing a military department next year is essentially certain. So the city gate commander being attached to the military department and included in the official ranks of Great Xia should not be a major issue." "Wonderful." Receiving direct confirmation from Lu Yang, Hong Yu's expression immediately became extremely excited. Seeing Hong Yu so exhilarated, Lu Yang smiled gently, full of understanding. For everyone in Great Xia nowadays, the 3 most important things are cultivation, rank entry, and nobility. As for cultivation, it's fundamental for survival in the ice abyss. Rank entry signifies becoming part of Great Xia's true management. And nobility means elevating to the elite ranks of Great Xia. Nobles have different clothing, accessories, travel, residences, and even household setups than ordinary people. At the annual Cold Element Festival, they also receive invitations from the Lord to attend banquets at the political hall with their entire family. This honor alone is enough to make everyone eager. Unfortunately, the difficulty of these 3 things increases progressively. Speaking of nobility without warfare, achieving enough merit for nobility is extremely unlikely. So far, only 3 new nobles have been added this year, which is proof enough. Finding a silver mine, locating a cold apple tree, and annexing other camps all sound easy, but doing them reveals just how challenging they are. At the start of the year, Yu Bin's Lingyuan team lost 1 at cold resistance level and 4 at the earth-digging realm limit, yet they still couldn't confirm the silver mine's location. Ultimately, it was Hu Jing who led the Bijou squad on a risky expedition to find it, which proves the point. Entering the ranks is similarly difficult. The ranks in Great Xia right now can be counted. The Minister Xia Chuan, the 7 departments director and deputy director, the main and deputy directors of the 4 outer city districts, Long Mountain, Hankyang, Huayuan 7 major camps, the defense envoys of Mirror Valley, Beehive and other 10 small camps, and finally the military positions of the Yunjiao, Longwu, Chelong, namely 4th-rank captains and 5th-rank commanders. Chapter 883, Chapter 37, Major Changes in Xia City, the Wealthiest Person in Great Xia Part 2. Excluding the overlapping positions, the total is 153. You should know that the number of cold resistance level individuals in the Great Xia has already exceeded 300, which means half of the cold resistance level hasn't been classified into ranks yet. Therefore, it's no wonder that Hong Yu, who is currently at the earth-digging realm limit cultivation, is so excited to hear that his city gate commander position will be classified into ranks. By the way, aren't there 2 city gate commanders? Why don't I see Zhu Kang? Currently, Great Xia has 10 city gate commanders, grouped in pairs. Lu Yang is more familiar with the group of Hong Yu and Zhu Kang. After taking a look around the city gate without finding Zhu Kang, he curiously asked. Upon hearing Lu Yang ask about Zhu Kang, Hong Yu's face turned slightly serious and said, "He has been on leave for 7 consecutive days, locking himself inside the martial arts pavilion to cultivate. He is probably eager to break through. Even his second uncle can't call him out." On hearing this, Lu Yang's face also turned slightly serious, gently shaking his head. Zhu Kang's father, Zhu Ling, was one of the 3 cold resistance level soldiers who died in the Beehive defense battle last year. Although he was posthumously honored as the 9th-rank Marquis Chuanling, it's not easy for Zhu Kang to successfully inherit his father's title. A third of the battlefield military merits require him to defeat 166 enemies, not just any ordinary 166, but real soldiers with earth-digging realm limit cultivation. Not to mention that there are no wars in Great Xia right now. Even if there were, with Zhu Kang's current earth-digging realm limit cultivation, it's basically impossible to accumulate such military merits in a short time. Of course, if the path of military merits is not feasible, he could try finding silver mines, cold apple trees, or annexing other camps. Unfortunately, given Zhu Kang's current cultivation, achieving these is also as difficult as climbing to the sky. Zhu Kang clearly is eager to improve his strength to inherit his father's 9th-rank Marquis title as soon as possible. Otherwise, he wouldn't shut himself in for 7 days. Lu Yang suddenly realized a flaw in Hong Yu's words and immediately asked, "Wait, how can Zhu Kang continuously cultivate at the Martial Arts Academy for 7 days? Does he have so many quotas to use, and won't others have opinions about that?" The Martial Arts Academy has limitations, accommodating a maximum of 200 people per day. It's currently one of the most precious cultivation resources in Great Xia. Although the camp supply department has increased the usage price several times, people are still desperate to get in. Except for some special periods, Lu Yang has never heard of anyone being able to cultivate there for 7 consecutive days. "Sir, it's not the Martial Arts Academy, it's the Martial Arts Pavilion." Hong Yu first corrected Lu Yang's mistake and then smiled. "No wonder, it makes sense that you wouldn't know, sir, given that you've been away for over 2 months. Recent changes in Xia City are more than just this city wall." He seemed to be eagerly anticipating Lu Yang's reaction upon entering the city and suggested, "I happen to be heading back to the inner city. Let me show you the changes in the city, sir." Lu Yang nodded and followed Hong Yu through the city gate, his eyes filled with anticipation. As he walked through the city gate, what appeared before him was a 20-meter-wide main road. On either side of the main road were snow forest areas. Lu Yang immediately recognized this as the scenery from within the Redwood Ridge before. Thinking of how both the north and south city walls extended 15 kilometers westward, he immediately understood. This main road was temporarily cleared for convenience of entry into the city. The expansion of the city walls was rushed, and large areas within the outer city have not yet been cleaned up. Sir, look, many people are cutting down trees in the snow forest on both sides. A few scattered cold beasts even appeared a few days ago, but they didn't pose much trouble. Judging by the progress I've seen these days, the entire outer city area should be thoroughly cleaned by the end of the month at the latest. Noticing the commotion in the snow forest areas on either side, Lu Yang nodded and continued following Hong Yu eastward. They walked about 10 kilometers before they could see large buildings in the distance, now fitting Lu Yang's familiar impression of the outer city scene. The two continued walking east for a while, and soon arrived at the original West District Administrative Building of the outer city's 7 departments headquarters. However, unlike before, the 4 characters of West District Administrative Office on the plaque of the tall building were replaced with East 4th District Administrative Office. The expanded Xia City is still divided into 4 districts, East, South, West, and North, like before. The previous outer city 4 districts have all been unified into the East District, but the original 4 administrative offices within the district remain unchanged, merely numbered. I heard from my father that the minister plans to divide East City into 18 districts, with each district accommodating around 100,000 people. In this way, East City alone could hold nearly 2 million people, and the entire population capacity limit of Xia City would be astonishing. Upon hearing this, Lu Yang's face showed surprise, but after pondering for a moment he understood. The original outer city 4 districts had a planned population capacity limit of 400,000, just enough to divide among the 4 East, South, West, and North districts. Now the expanded Xia City is 25 times the original size, and its population capacity limit should logically reach tens of millions. Xia Chuan's current plan for over 7 million is reasonable. Lu Yang noticed that Hong Yu's expression was even more excited than his own. Initially puzzled, he quickly realized. 18 districts, which means 14 new administrative offices need to be added. No wonder this kid is so excited. Last year, during Xia Chuan's reform, it was stated that once a district's population reaches 100,000, it meets the condition for establishing the 7 departments administrative office. So in the future, as long as each district in Xia City reaches the population requirement, a 7 departments administrative office will be set up. This means, as Xia City's population continues to increase, a vast number of ranked official positions will continuously open up. This is excellent news for young people like Hong Yu who currently have no ranked positions. Chapter 884, Chapter 337, Major Changes in Xia City, The Wealthiest Person in Great Xia, Part 3. Why are there so many people in the administration office? Lu Yang continued walking east along the main road, passing the entrance of the tall building in East 4th District's administration office, and found it packed with thousands of people, prompting his curious inquiry. They are all rushing to buy land and build houses. Upon hearing this answer, Lu Yang immediately nodded with a smile. He understood this matter. After the outer city became overcrowded and land became scarce, the 4th District Camp Supply Department increased land prices to reduce usage. Now that Xia City has expanded, the land prices naturally dropped, allowing more people to afford them. Soon, the two of them passed through East 4th District and saw the Great Xia military camp, originally located at the center of the outer city. Is there no one in the military camp? Lord, you may not know, but Chen Ying discovered a silver mine last month. It was only occupied by a group of more than 2,000 rodents. Cloud Jiao, Long Wu, and Chelong's 3 armies went directly to eradicate them. Now they're all over there mining silver. Indeed, Lu Yang didn't know about this, and his face showed surprise, but he quickly remembered Xia Hong's previous instruction to frantically extract resources, instantly understanding that Xia City's recent changes might be related to this silver mine. Chen Ying, is that the same Chen Ying from Chen Yi Camp in Redwood Ridge? I remember he established quite a few military achievements in Longyu last year. This time, he might just get a lordship right. Lu Yang instantly remembered who Chen Ying was. Discovering a silver mine and facing such low mining difficulty, his luck was extraordinary. Upon hearing this, Hong Yu couldn't help but display envy. Last month, he was granted a lordship. I heard the Lord personally issued the title documents, much more glamorous than Elder Li, Elder Hu, and Zhou Yuan. Hearing that Xia Hong personally oversaw it, Lu Yang's face also showed amazement. Li Tiancheng, Hu Jing, and Zhou Yuan are special figures in Great Xia, yet their lordship ceremony earlier this year was merely hosted by Minister Xia Chuan. Getting Xia Hong to personally officiate shows the significance of that silver mine. The two of them bypassed the military camp and soon arrived at East First District. East First District is originally Outer City East District, where land was the most expensive. Following recent wall expansions, many foresee East First District as the best area in the Outer City in the future, so they are flocking here to buy land. Defender Ying Yi, in response to the crowd's frenzy, raised the land price directly to 18,000, yet it was still snatched up within 10 days. Hearing this curious incident, Lu Yang shook his head with a light laugh, feeling a sense of pride rising in his heart. Everyone in Xia City wants their residence near the inner city. It's no secret. Being closer to the center ensures safety, which is only logical. As an old member of Great Xia, Lu Yang's place is at number 18 in the inner city, just over 300 meters from the main building, giving him every reason for pride. Soon, the two of them passed through East First District, entering the inner city through the city gate. Lord Lu has returned. Greetings, Lord Lu. Isn't Lord Lu stationed at Hankyang? What brings you back? Entering the main road of the inner city, familiar faces became more prevalent, with greetings and salutations coming from all around. Lu Yang responded with gestures but quickly mentioned he was pressed for time, proceeding swiftly toward the main building. But as he walked further, his expression grew increasingly strange. Finally, after walking roughly a mile, close to seeing the main building, he couldn't help but ask Hong Yu beside him, "Aren't there too many people breaking through recently?" Lu Yang now possessed a mid-stage cold resistance cultivation, easily spotting those with slightly chaotic auras. Their cultivation just recently breaking through. These could not escape his notice. The key was, there were too many of them. In just this mile, he saw no fewer than 300 or 400 people, among whom were a dozen at the cold resistance level, which was astonishing. "I was just about to mention it, Lord Lu. Look ahead." Following Hong Yu's direction, Lu Yang quickly looked up, his expression immediately stunned. Behind the main building stood 4 structures, most conspicuous being the star-picking hall, the Lord's residence suspended in midair. The remaining 3 were the medicine workshop, artifact refining workshop, and martial arts academy. The latter 3, due to their lower height, were typically obscured by the main building, not visible from this western side. However, upon looking up now, the 3 buildings already rose above the main building, with their signs for Martial Arts Pavilion, Alchemy Pavilion, and Artifact Refining Pavilion clearly visible at a glance. The Martial Arts Pavilion now accommodates 1,000 people simultaneously cultivating, and currently hosts 50 cold beast stakes, all capable of simulating quasi-beast king-level cold beasts. I've heard they will further expand soon. Lord Lu, you understand now why there are so many newly broken through cultivators on the street. 1,000 people. And further expansion is planned. Lu Yang's face was full of shock, promptly followed by overwhelming joy. Being a frequent cultivator at the Martial Arts Academy, he knows well the powerful functions of the academy. The increase in capacity from 200 to 1,000 indicates profound implications for Great Xia, which he understands far better than Hong Yu beside him. The changes in the Alchemy Pavilion are also significant. I visited a few days ago. The building is backed by a 500 square meter medicinal field. Director Cheng has been transplanting various valuable medicinal herbs lately, even sending the harvesting department to Long Mountain, planning to attempt transplanting that dying cold apple tree. These days, new Dan medicines emerge daily from the Alchemy Pavilion. Vice Director Bai sorted all Dan medicines into 6 classes, establishing a corresponding 6-level pill master system, with plans to implement a pill master assessment in the future. Chapter 885. Chapter 337. Major changes in Xia City, the richest person in Great Xia. As for the artifact refining hall, they can produce dozens of thousand forged weapons daily. The output of 10,000 forged weapons is also increasing. I heard that Director Mu is currently leading craftsmen to forge a 10,000 forging level weapon for the Lord, consuming tens of thousands of pounds of silver alone. Tusk. Listening to Hong Yu along the way, Lu Yang had already reached the bottom of the main building. After learning about the many significant changes in Xia City, Lu Yang's face was naturally full of undisguised amazement. However, all this amazement slowly dissipated upon seeing the main building. His eyes clearly showed a hint of excitement, obviously looking forward to what he was about to do next. Hong Yu noticed the excitement on Lu Yang's face and curiously asked, "By the way, Lord Lu, Is there something urgent for you to return from Hankyang this time? It's of great importance, so I can't say much. I hope Brother Hong understands. No problem, no problem. In that case, Lord Lu, please hurry to see the minister. Upon hearing this, Hong Yu was so startled that he quickly waved his hands. If his father, Hong Tian, heard him being called Brother Hong, he would probably scold him. Although Lu Yang was only 5 years older than him, in terms of identity, status, and strength, he surpassed him by too much, clearly someone at the same level as his father, Hong Tian. Being able to walk through the city gates with him and chat all the way was already an honor for him. On the main road just now, Hong Yu clearly saw the envious looks many people were giving him. Moreover, since Lu Yang said it was something important, it was definitely something he wasn't qualified to hear. If he rashly inquired and crossed a taboo, it would definitely be more of a curse than a blessing. Lu Yang smiled, cupped his hands, and quickly strode towards the top floor of the main building. At the residence just behind Star-Picking Hall, in Li Xuanling's room. Xia Yuyao and Xia Yusheng were each lying in a small rocking bed, sleeping soundly with eyes closed, while Li Xuanling sat in the middle, looking at one then the other, her face full of affection. She held a bone fan in her left hand, gently fanning Xia Yusheng, while occasionally adjusting Xia Yuyao's little quilt with her right hand, fearing she might catch a cold. "Madam, you've been fanning for so long, let me do it instead. The jade dew next to the second prince's bed has been collected, and I have nothing else to do." Han Shuang, having just finished collecting a batch of jade dew, took the fan from Li Xuanling and continued to fan Xia Yusheng. As she looked at the 15 drops of cold apple jade dew in her hand, she couldn't help but exclaim, "I've heard that this cold apple jade dew can be exchanged for 5,000 contribution value points per drop at the camp supply department. The first princess can yield 15 drops just from sleeping, probably making her the richest person in the entire camp." Li Xuanling chuckled at her amusing words. Cold apple jade dew is the main ingredient for refining Yangyuan pills, with 1 drop able to make 9 pills. Although it requires other herbs as well, it is quite valuable, and the camp supply department's pricing of 5,000 points is fairly reasonable. According to Han Shuang's statement, the eldest daughter, Xia Yuyao, is indeed the wealthiest in the entire camp, perhaps even more than what Xia Hong could earn through hard work. The second prince is unique too. You don't feel cold at all standing next to him. He's like a natural heater. I love holding him the most. Nang Ying, at the rocking bed, didn't forget to compliment Xia Yusheng too. Li Xuanling smiled and nodded. Indeed, compared to Yar, Shenger's physique seems even more suited for survival in the ice abyss, and he hasn't even begun cultivation yet. I believe his physique will undergo further changes once he starts cultivating. Once the two princes begin cultivating, Han Shuang predicts that all the talents in the Great Xia will pale in comparison. The entire Great Xia. Upon hearing this, Li Xuanling raised her eyebrows slightly and then revealed a proud expression, seemingly about to say something, but restrained herself. Ming Yue greets Madam and the two princes. Suddenly, Ming Yue entered quickly from outside, paying respectful homage to Li Xuanling and her children before approaching Han Shuang to say softly, "Sister Han Shuang, the minister said there's something urgent and asked me to notify the Lord. I couldn't find Sister Han Yue after searching for a long time, so I came to you." Though Ming Yue was a maid of the Star-Picking Hall, she often went to the political hall. If someone urgently needed to see the Lord, they would have her report it. Xia Hong was in seclusion at the Star-Picking platform, and only Han Yue and Han Shuang had access, so evidently, Han Yue was off doing something, which is why Ming Yue came to Han Shuang. "Understood, I'll head over now." "Go notify him, don't worry about me." Li Xuanling gestured for Han Shuang to go notify Xia Hong immediately, watching her leave before turning to look at Ming Yue and asking, "Do you know what the matter is?" It seems defender Lu Yang from Hankyang brought back some important news. Li Xuanling slightly furrowed her brows, then gently said, "Go listen to what's being said at the political hall and come back to tell me." Ming Yue was momentarily stunned, but quickly nodded and headed in that direction. After all, it's not like she was asked to eavesdrop, and even if she did, she didn't have the capability for it. With Madam's orders, even if the Lord found out, he wouldn't blame her. Chapter 886, Chapter 338, Rapid Progress Martial Arts Skills, Dual-Faceted Eastern Expansion, Dormancy Period. 50 FOUR Chinese letter, not even a month, 23 days, and I even spent 3 days deducing cultivation techniques and martial arts in between. The actual time spent cultivating should only be 20 days, and in 20 days, I've improved by nearly TWO Chinese letter. This cultivation speed. Sitting cross-legged on the 12-petal silver enlightenment lotus platform, Xia Hong suddenly opened his eyes, his face full of joy and amazement. He naturally had a threefold cultivation increase from the martial arts pavilion, and adding 5 times more on top, making it 8 times in total. The key augmentation effect of the enlightenment lotus platform is truly too powerful. The cultivation at the cold resistance level is centered around the body's flesh and blood, specifically using external forces to stimulate and destroy the original flesh and blood tissues, forcing their continuous reorganization and growth. Currently, there are only 2 known external forces. One is the cold light during the day. The other is medicine, such as Jade bone medicine and Yangyuan pill. Of course, the former's efficiency is astonishingly slow. Although Xia Hong had this star-picking platform built without a roof, he mainly relied on the Yangyuan pill. The Enlightenment Lotus platform not only enhances my absorption of the Yangyuan pill, but it also helps find and fill in the missing parts of my flesh and blood, assisting me in optimizing the current cultivation method, even deducing the future cultivation path, effectively resolving all my worries. Of course, there's also. Xia Hong looked down at the ground in front of the platform, the joy on his face growing stronger. There are a total of 45 bound volumes of martial arts classics on the ground, all decorated with advanced beast skin. Even the characters on the covers are written in golden frost ink. 45 cultivation techniques, covering 12 kinds of weapons: blade, spear, sword, halberd, axe, lance, whip, cudgel, hammer, staff, spear, and fan. I have also integrated the 4 long fist forms into them. Each one practiced to the deepest level can burst out with up to 50% increase in power, and combined with weapon techniques, the destructive power can be even stronger. The combat power of great Xia people will increase significantly in the future. This is the power of the Enlightenment, Divine Lotus. In his previous life, coming from a martial arts family, Xia Hong was almost proficient in all types of weapons. The reason he chose to major in Grand Ancestor Long Fist, while also popularizing it throughout Great Xia, is because the long fist forms are the most practical, with the greatest power-generating effect, reaching up to 30%. But using the Enlightenment, Divine Lotus to deduce martial arts for 3 days, he realized that 30% is not the limit. The long fist form at the transformation realm level, combined with these martial arts techniques practiced to the highest level, can achieve up to a 50% increase in explosive power, and this might not even be the limit. With the Enlightenment Divine Lotus, further improvement is possible. Of course, there are 2 difficulties. One is the transformation realm level long fist form, which only Xia Hong has experience with from his previous life. Currently, in Great Xia, only 10 people have cultivated long fist to the transformation realm. Regardless of their cultivation, they are definitely prodigies in martial arts. The second is martial arts techniques. Weapons cannot be mastered simply by holding them. They naturally require years of accumulated practice. Xia Chuan's talent in weapons seems average. His specialty lies in puppet manipulation. Currently, those with high talent in weapons in Great Xia include Xuanling with his sword, Yuan Dao with his broadsword, Yuan Cheng with his double-bladed axe, Hu Jing with his staff, Lu Yang with his sword, and Luo Cheng with his long spear from last year too. The Enlightenment Divine Lotus consumes 5,000 points of silver resources per martial arts deduction, converted to 25,000 jin of silver. Naturally, Xia Hong does not act recklessly. The 12 weapon martial arts pre-deduced are all used by someone in Great Xia at this stage. The population of Xia City has now exceeded 600,000. Of course, Xia Hong doesn't have time to examine everyone's talents. He can only start with those he knows. For now, these 45 cultivation techniques are certainly enough. Not only has the individual cultivation issue been solved, but almost all the buildings have been upgraded by 1 level. The growth brought by the upgraded martial arts pavilion, artifact refining pavilion, and alchemy workshop is already beginning to take effect. Next, it just needs time to ferment, and the strength of Xia City is bound to see a rapid increase. The only downside is the exaggerated consumption speed of this silver mine. Xia Hong pondered for a moment, checking the camp system panel. Camp Great Xia Level 0. Lord Xia Hong. Cultivation, late-stage cold resistance, 50 FOUR Chinese letter. Territory population, 627,642. Resources: wood 5.21 million, coal 2.82 million, iron 1.04 million, silver 280,000, gold 0. Buildings activated 8. Yangsu Tripod Level 5, Martial Arts Pavilion Level 4, Alchemy Pavilion Level 4, Artifact Refining Pavilion Level 4, Iron Wall Level 3, Spirit God Steel Level 4, Black Land Level 3, Enlightenment Divine Lotus Level 4. Buildings not activated 1. Rough Iron Chain. Seeing the population of Great Xia approaching 630,000, Xia Hong showed a slight look of excitement. The population of 110,000 from Songyang Ridge has fully migrated into Xia City. Su Ning, credited for bringing in this batch of population, successfully promoted to Great Xia's 3rd, 8th rank Chixel Marquis early this month. However, the excitement quickly faded due to the lack of system resources, especially seeing the remaining 150,000 points of silver, making Xia Hong shake his head repeatedly. In the past 23 days, the 3,000 soldiers in total mined over 6.5 million jin of silver, amounting to 1.3 million system resource points, plus the first batch of 240,000 points brought back, making a total of 1,540,000 points. Most buildings, except the Enlightenment Divine Lotus, required little silver to upgrade from level 3 to level 4, generally between 3,000 points and 20,000 points. It should not have been consumed so quickly. Chapter 887. Chapter 338. Rapid Progress, Martial Arts Skills, Dual Advance Eastward, Dormancy Period /2. But in reality, it was completely different. Firstly, after the level 4 Cold Ruins tripod upgraded to the level 5 Yangsu tripod, its radiation range instantly reached 20 kilometers. This is considered the basis for Xia City's expansion. Crucially, not only did its fuel consumption increase, but it also added a new fuel. Silver. That's right, silver can also become fuel for the Yangsu tripod. Yangsu tripod level 5 can significantly increase temperature within a 20-kilometer radius through burning wood, coal, and silver, has the ability to kill advanced deceitful monsters, is extremely attractive to cold beasts, can be used to cast ironware and silverware. Special Function 1. Every 100 units of wood burned can produce a small fire torch, capable of killing advanced deceitful monsters. Burning time is 1 hour. Special Function 2. Every 200 units of coal stone burned can produce 1 portion of solidified fire oil, harmless to humans, but ignites upon contact with deceitful monsters, having a very strong lethal effect. Special Function 3. Every 500 units of silver burned can produce 1 suppression talisman, the wearer of which cannot be approached by deceitful monsters. Special Function 4. All personnel in the camp can be modified by this tripod to acquire the latent Great Xia Sacred Pattern bloodline, with the host as the bloodline ancestor. Upgrade requirements: 1,000 million coal, 3,000 million iron, 1 million silver, 100,000 gold. Daily consumption: wood 1,000, coal 100, silver 10. The host can freely adjust the tripod's fire radiation range. Burning a single type of fuel yields the same warming effect, but suppression capabilities will greatly decrease, with a fuel ratio of 1 to 100. After being upgraded, the Yangsu tripod's capabilities have significantly improved. The previous description of advanced deceitful monsters was intimidation. Now it has become suppression and extermination. The strength of small fire torches has also increased substantially. Moreover, a new item called the suppression talisman has been added. From the final consumption description, it's evident that 3 types of fuels need to be added to maximize the effects of the Yangsu tripod. Since that's the case, silver, like wood, coal, and iron, becomes an essential resource for the camp. This is just one Yangsu tripod. Additionally, there are the Alchemy Pavilion's medicinal fields, the Artifact Refining Pavilion's silver furnace, the Martial Arts Pavilion's activation itself, and the newly added 50 cold beast steaks. To achieve the best effect, they all need silver. This camp system is clearly a massive resource-devouring machine. Xia Hong sighed slightly. Although he was complaining, he could actually understand in his heart. The functions provided by the system buildings aren't without reason. To achieve the best effects, the resource requirements are inevitably higher, which is normal. He didn't even account for the Enlightenment, Divine Lotus, with all that silver consumption just now. Just cultivating for 1 day requires 50 points. Every martial arts derivation is 5,000 points. Each enlightenment is 50,000 points, and there is finally that extraordinary skill worth 100,000 silver points, usable once a year, with only a 20% success rate, which he currently doesn't dare to even attempt. Anyway, the cultivation issue is solved. Based on my current pace of cultivation in these 20 days, even if the pace slows down later, raising the basic strength to 72 Chinese letter, it only requires less than a year, possibly even shorter if I use the monthly enlightenment opportunity. Besides the silver mine being mined on the north slope, there are 3 confirmed ones in Long Mountain and 1 in Beiming Mountain. They are all there and won't run away. It's up to Great Xia's strength. The quota for the martial arts pavilion has increased to 1,000 people. Once the silver mining increases, it can be upgraded again, allowing more people to simultaneously enter for cultivation, accelerating the camp's strength enhancement. The Dan medicine development in the alchemy pavilion and the armor casting in the artifact refining pavilion, all capabilities are rising rapidly, awaiting the next peak period of strength to launch an operation on those 4 silver mines. Xia Hong exhaled lightly, picked up all 45 martial arts techniques from the ground, and then looked up, calling softly towards the door. Han Yue. Almost as soon as he spoke, hurried footsteps sounded from outside the door. Since he had always been in seclusion, he wouldn't just wake up for no reason. It was the hurried steps towards the star-picking platform that made him come out of seclusion. Han Shuang greets the Lord. Ming Yue just came to inform that the minister has important matters to discuss with you. It seems that Hankyang's defender, Lord Lu, brought back some important news. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong recalled that he indeed sent Han Yue to handle matters in the artifact refining pavilion today. Hearing that Lu Yang had returned from Hankyang, he immediately realized something, and a hint of light appeared in his eyes as he stood up directly. It must be news about that dark passage. The main building political hall. Greetings to the Lord. No need for formalities. Is it about that dark passage there's news? Rushing over, Xia Hong directly asked Lu Yang. The Lord's predictions are truly clever. I am in awe. Since being in charge of Hankyang, Lu Yang had evidently become more savvy. He first praised Xia Hong with a smile before continuing with a face full of excitement. We spent over 7 months, and finally, on the night of August 6th, we cleared the collapsed section of Hanfeng. As expected by the Lord, that dark passage indeed led to the top of Twin Dragon Mountain, spanning 45 kilometers, with its final exit in a region called Baining Mountain. The tunnel was opened on August 6th, and today is September 5th, indicating it took a month to return to Xia City to report the situation. Lu Yang had evidently learned a lot about the conditions in Baining Mountain. Sit down and explain slowly. Xia Hong's eyes lit up. He directly took the main seat and gestured for Xia Chuan and Lu Yang to sit down and explain slowly. Chapter 888. Chapter 338. Rapid Progress, Martial Arts Skills, Dual Advance Eastward, Dormancy Period /3. Lu Yang nodded, then continued speaking after sitting down. Baining Mountain is located in the northern section of the Xuanglong Mountain Range, positioned right above us. Its east-west depth is approximately 200 kilometers, and the north-south is about more than 150 kilometers. The Lord was right in his guess. Directly above our valley is the deepest part of Baining Mountain. On the cliff tops and walls, there are plenty of troublesome flying cold beasts. Although I haven't seen them with my own eyes, I can clearly sense that humans around the camps near Baining Mountain are deeply fearful, even terrified of them. Xuanglong Mountain Range. Upon hearing these 4 words, Xia Hong immediately understood that the entire Xuanglong Mountain was much larger than he had originally anticipated. After all, according to Lu Yang, the Baining Mountain above the valley was only the northern section of the Xuanglong Mountain Range. The troublesomeness of the flying cold beasts is not hard to understand. Regardless of the level of these cold beasts, as long as they possess the ability to fly, they have a significant advantage over humans. After all, the range of bow and arrow is limited. Unless those cold beasts recklessly dive down, you can only stand by and watch helplessly. Speaking of this, we have to mention the unique geographical position of Great Xia. Because they live in the world at the bottom of the valley on the west side of the Xuanglong Mountain Range, Great Xia has so far only suffered 1 invasion of flying cold beasts. If Xia Hong remembers correctly, it was on the 30th of December in the first year. Finally, it was Yuan Dao, who had just broken through the cold resistance level, that personally dealt with it. Leaving Xia Hong's thoughts aside for now, Lu Yang continued to narrate. The final exit of the secret passage at the Hankyang outpost is located on the northern outer periphery of Baining Mountain, about 15 kilometers deep. If you continue heading north for another 10 kilometers, you can pass through the snow forest and then head east for 5 kilometers to reach Gaoyang Ridge. On this Gaoyang Ridge, there is a village-level camp called Zhuling, with a population of about 60,000. By the way, the Lord might not know how a camp is defined as village-level externally. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong immediately showed interest and nodded slightly. The population standard for a village-level camp is 20,000. If you just calculate it based on this, the 12 camps in Longyu previously all met the requirement. However, at the time, they always considered themselves giant camps, including Long Mountain, which later had a population exceeding 100,000. There is no other way around it. Information from Pinxi Plain was blocked, and even Long Mountain, which had the largest population at the time, did not know about it. How would other camps know? Xia Hong had some guesses in his mind, but without external contact, it was hard to make a direct conclusion. Since Lu Yang had found out, he was naturally interested in knowing more. What I found out is that besides a population of over 20,000, a village-level camp must also have an item powerful enough to deter deceitful monsters. A silver-made item. After listening, Xia Hong immediately guessed. Lu Yang nodded and smiled, saying, "The regulation of Baining Mountain is to have a silver-made item weighing 1,000 pounds. The Lord, you can guess again, which family does this regulation come from?" Seeing Lu Yang keeping suspense, Xia Hong smiled and cooperated by thinking deeply. With slightly furrowed brows, he quickly had an answer. Beishuo. Upon hearing these two words, Xia Chuan, who sat in front of Lu Yang, visibly shuddered and immediately turned to look at Lu Yang. It was evident that he had not heard this information from Lu Yang before. Xia Chuan's emotional fluctuation did not escape Xia Hong's eyes. As for the reason, he knew it well. Obviously, Xia Chuan still harbored resentment for the kick Li who gave him 4 years ago. It makes sense when you think about it. 4 years isn't that long, especially since Li Hu's kick almost cost him his life back then. The Lord is so sharp, you guessed it right in one go. Upon getting Lu Yang's confirmation, not only Xia Chuan, but even Xia Hong's heart trembled slightly. After more than 4 years, there was finally news about Beishuo Town. The key was that having gotten information about Beishuo, the other 8 towns, including Mo Mountain that Yang and Li talked about back then, should also. Mo Mountain is just northeast of Baining Mountain. I don't know how far exactly, but its lofty peaks and majestic body are far superior to the Xuanglong Mountain, 10 or even dozens of times. When Zhao Hu and I first saw it, we were all dumbfounded. With a whoosh, Xia Hong stood up from his chair, then realized something and quickly calmed himself, asking Lu Yang, "How powerful are the 7 families in Baining Mountain? Did you gather any information about Beishuo Town, including its exact location? Tell me everything you know." Seeing Xia Hong's intense reaction, Lu Yang dared not keep the suspense anymore and quickly answered seriously. Besides Zhuling, the other 6 families in Baining Mountain are Yanggu, Hongyuan, Baiyuan, Wangxing, Long River, and Zaiqiang, each with a population between 30 to 50,000. From what I've gathered, the 7 families in Baining Mountain, even though their population is similar to the previous giant camps in Longyu, are obviously stronger. Each family has at least 5 with cold resistance levels, and Zhuling even has more than a dozen. The other 6 families, along with the other dozen medium to large camps along the 50-kilometer northern periphery of Baining Mountain, all revere Zhuling as the leader. They have to contribute coal, iron, and beast meat to Zhuling every month. In turn, Zhuling must accept the jurisdiction of Beishuo Town, contributing once every 6 months. Every time, a team led jointly by the 7 family leaders sets out. I didn't get the exact location of Beishuo Town. I only know that you have to head east along the Baining Mountain border, and the distance is over 300 kilometers. Chapter 889. Chapter 338. Rapid Progress, Martial Arts Skills, Dual Advance Eastward, Dormancy Period /4. Lu Yang poured out everything he knew in one breath. Seeing Xia Hong above him furrowing his brows without speaking, he thought he hadn't said enough and immediately said anxiously, "Forgive me, my lord. In the past month, Zhao Hu and I had no suitable identity above and were also afraid of giving ourselves away and being detected. We could only secretly probe for information from a few large camps. This is all we have found out so far." "No, you've done very well," Just continue to be cautious." Xia Hong immediately spoke, a glint flashing in his eyes as he continued. "We do not know the situation in Beishuo and the other towns. Taking the initiative to step out of Pinxi Plain and spying on their true strength is very beneficial for us. Until we understand their power, we must continue in this manner." The survival rules of the Ice Abyss world were long set, and the interaction patterns between all camps were only two: the big devour the small, or hostile competition. Beishuo Town was still unaware of Great Xia's existence, but Great Xia had already pinpointed their general location. This situation, where they are in the open while we remain hidden, is very advantageous for Great Xia, which just unified Longyu and still needs time to grow. If I remember correctly, 4 years ago, Yang and Li said both of them were scouts of the Imperial Army from Beishuo Town. They came to Redwood Ridge to map the areas surrounding Beishuo. They probably came from the east of Twin Dragon Mountain, along the Xing River north bank, all the way west into Redwood Ridge. So, not only Baining Mountain, but the areas on the eastern side of the Xing River north bank could also be within Beishuo Town's sphere of influence. At this, Xia Chuan couldn't help but speak. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong nodded slightly. The identities of Yang and Li as scouts of the defensive army were confirmed by Luo Ming, Shi Qing, Han Gang, Huang Yang, Lu He, and the other leaders of Redwood Ridge, who all personally told him so. No. But after contemplating for a moment, Xia Hong quickly dismissed Xia Chuan's hypothesis. If the eastern areas of the Xing River north bank were the sphere of Beishuo's influence, Yang and Li would have already explored this side 4 years ago. Why haven't we seen anyone from Beishuo Town come over in these past 4 years? Even just Redwood Ridge itself is a substantial resource area that should have attracted them. Xia Chuan also realized the flaw in his statement and immediately fell into thought. At this point, Lu Yang interjected. Could it be that Yang and Li were unfortunate and met with misfortune on their way back, and didn't have the chance to relay the information back to Beishuo Town? Xia Hong and Xia Chuan both looked up at the same time, an odd expression on their faces. Indeed, that is a possibility. We can't rule out this possibility, but we should prepare in advance. If we continue exploring east along the Xing River north bank, there's a high probability we will encounter people from Beishuo Town or the other towns. It's even possible that they were exploring from east to west along the north bank, but were stopped by something along the way, which is why they haven't ventured to the west side yet. Upon hearing Xia Chuan's words, Xia Hong immediately turned around to look at the large map of Great Xia's territory hanging behind the high platform, his gaze fixed on the north bank of the Xing River, the latest location explored by Great Xia, Songyang Ridge. Since the east-west depth of Baining Mountain is more than 200 kilometers, the east-west span of the Xing River north bank should at least be that long. Let's provisionally set this distance as 200 kilometers. From the southern mountain wall to the northernmost part of Songyang Ridge, which is the area Great Xia has currently discovered, did Su Ning mention the exact distance? Su Ning came back from Huayuan last month, and Xia Hong hadn't seen him in person. Xia Chuan had seen him, so he immediately replied, "The southern mountain wall to the easternmost part of the 5-8 mountain is 15 kilometers. Su Ning explored north for 25 kilometers before finding Songyang Ridge. The width of Songyang Ridge is about 25 kilometers. Overall, the North Bank area we have explored is approximately 70 kilometers. According to the Lord's estimate of over 200 kilometers, we've explored about a third. My Lord Minister, what are we waiting for? Inform Su Ning to speed up the eastward expansion and annexation to control the entire Xing River North Bank early. If Beishuo or other towns control it, it will be much more difficult for Great Xia to expand east in the future." Lu Yang's words practically articulated what Xia Hong and Xia Chuan were both thinking. The name Xing River was given by Xia Hong on the 7th day of the 3rd month of the Yuan year. Along with this name, another one was created, called Xing Valley Pass. Why call it a pass? Because the northern and southern banks of this river valley are the largest pass between the entire Pinxi Plain and the outside world of Twin Dragon Mountain. Currently, Great Xia lacks the ability to cross the water, so it can't manage the southern bank, but the northern bank is entirely manageable. The north bank is the only way for Great Xia to exit Pinxi Plain. Eastward expansion. These two words are evidently powerful, as not only Xia Hong but Xia Chuan and Lu Yang were also staring at the Xing River North Bank area with intense interest. No, we don't know the specific strength of the Mo 9 towns. If we rashly let Su Ning and his people speed up their exploration and encounter them too early, it would be a disaster, not a blessing. Even if the Nine Towns' strength is comparable to Great Xia or slightly inferior, if they detect Great Xia's intention to expand east, they will undoubtedly join forces to block the entire Xing Valley Pass and not let us through, possibly even launching an attack. Hearing Xia Chuan's words, Lu Yang was momentarily stunned, then, upon reflecting, looked at Xia Chuan with eyes full of admiration. "Minister, you have great foresight. I am impressed." Xia Hong, sitting at the main seat, looked at Xia Chuan with eyes full of praise. Chapter 890. Chapter 338. Rapid Progress, Martial Arts Skills, Dual Advance Eastward, Dormancy Period /5. In 4 years of governance, whether in terms of vision or scale, Xia Chuan has improved far beyond the Earth Mound period. His ability to propose the reform of the 6 ministries last time already surprised him considerably. At this moment, to say these words proves that the reform was not a sudden inspiration, but rather the result of years of accumulated governance experience. Appointing Xia Chuan as the governor of the camp in the past, looking back now, was undoubtedly the most correct move Xia Hong ever made. "Lu Yang, do you know how far is it from Hankyang to the north bank of Xing River?" "From Hankyang southward to Beehive is 27 kilometers. From Beehive to Mirror Valley is 29 kilometers. From Mirror Valley to Xia City is 31 kilometers. And from Xia City to the north bank of Xing River is 17 kilometers in total, adding up to 104 kilometers. Upon hearing the sound, Lu Yang immediately responded, then looked up at the map of the Great Xia behind Xia Hong and instantly realized something, his expression suddenly freezing. "You understand now. The eastern advance of Great Xia is not only through Xing Valley Pass. The secret passage you've cleared at Hankyang is just inconvenient compared to Xing Valley Pass, and it is easily destroyed. But if it is well protected and utilized, it becomes an excellent secret eastern route, allowing Great Xia to extend its reach into the Mo 9 towns without them noticing." "Understood, Lord." Xia Chuan obviously understood Xia Hong's intention earlier than Lu Yang. Instead of answering aloud, he said gravely, "Then the Hankyang outpost becomes very important, as does the exit of that secret passage, and even the people in those 7 large camps on the northern outskirts of Baining Mountain. We must keep a close watch on them, not allowing them to detect any problems." After hearing these words and realizing the importance of the Hankyang outpost, Lu Yang displayed a look of both happiness and anxiety, deeply conflicted internally. The Hankyang outpost under his governance had now become so important, ensuring more attention from the Lord and the minister, which is naturally a good thing. But the problem is, it's too important, directly linked to Great Xia's future major eastern expansion. His current strength isn't that strong, and he naturally worries that a misstep on his part might ruin the Lord's grand plans. Xia Hong, however, did not concern himself with Lu Yang's thoughts. After pondering for a moment, he asked Xia Chuan, "At Huayuan on the north bank of Xing River, Xia Chuan, what do you think should be done?" The elder brother is obviously testing him. Xia Chuan could see it clearly. Instead of rushing to answer, he thought carefully before finally bowing and saying, "I believe we can let Su Ning continue to explore, but we need to appropriately slow down the pace of annexation and expansion, trying to avoid contact with the 9 towns for a while. Once contact with the 9 towns is truly made, expansion must stop immediately to prevent the 9 towns from detecting Great Xia's eastern intentions. At least, this should be done until we ascertain the specific strengths of the 9 towns." "Well said." Xia Hong directly commended, then continued gravely, "Proceed as you suggested. Great Xia advances eastward on 2 fronts. The Xing Valley Pass line, which I'll entrust to you. You must personally oversee the actions at Huayuan. If problems arise, you'll be held accountable." "Rest assured, Lord, I'll ensure it is done well." "Lu Yang, your Hankyang outpost isn't resource-rich, is it? Starting today, Hankyang will be downgraded to a regular outpost, only setting up a garrison." "Huh?" Lu Yang's expression immediately went blank upon hearing this decision. "Why is it being revoked, and now I'm being downgraded to garrison?" "Ha, don't worry, I haven't finished speaking yet." Seeing his bewilderment, Xia Hong laughed heartily a few times. Then a gleam flashed in his eyes as he continued gravely. "You, along with Zhao Hu, Zhu Shun, He Xing, He Ning, Lin Fan, and Wang Tao, are to select 500 elite from Xia City and set up a new outpost at the north exit of Baining Mountain. Internally, that's what it'll be called. Externally, your outpost is to be a new camp with a leader, a hunting team, a logging team, and ordinary people." Lu Yang immediately understood, his eyes lighting up. Clearly, Xia Hong was having him secure a foothold at Baining Mountain, establishing formal contact with the 7 camps to the north, and then find opportunities to gather information about Mo 9 towns. Of course, most importantly, he had to guard the secret passage, ensuring no one else discovered it. But after thinking carefully, he looked troubled. Lord, suddenly setting up a new camp with only elites, avoiding suspicion from the 7 camps in Beishuo town isn't possible. But if I take ordinary people over, I'm afraid no one in Xia City would be willing. Hearing this, Xia Hong shook his head about to speak, when Xia Chuan interjected to assist Lu Yang, smiling. Who said you need to take ordinary people, just select the elites? Didn't you engage with several large camps over there recently? With the 6 of you at cold resistance level plus 500 elite, find a way to annex them easily. If not, Xia City can still send people to assist. What are you afraid of? Upon hearing these words, Lu Yang immediately understood, cursing himself for his foolishness, and quickly bowed to Xia Chuan and Xia Hong, saying, I understand. If they were only disguised as a new camp, they couldn't fool others. But if they annexed some large camps under a guise, they'd naturally have ordinary people, logging realms and earth-digging realms, making them like a normal large camp. Chapter 891, Chapter 338, Rapid Progress Martial Arts Skills, Dual Eastern Advances, Dormant Phase 6. At that time, we only need to keep the secret of the hidden passage, and then take the opportunity to communicate normally with the 7 families to gather information about the 9 towns of Mo Mountain, and everything will naturally fall into place. Lu Yang, if I remember correctly, you practice swordsmanship, right? It was forbidden to wear weapons in the political hall. Seeing Lu Yang without a sword, Xia Hong was afraid he remembered incorrectly and specially asked. Lu Yang obviously didn't understand why Xia Hong was asking this, and nodded with a puzzled expression. Suddenly, Xia Hong turned his head and instructed towards the rear. Ming Yue, go to the star-picking platform and bring me the sword on the far left of the weapon rack. Yes, Lord. Ming Yue's voice came from the back of the platform. Neither Xia Chuan nor Lu Yang's expressions changed, evidently already knowing she had been standing there. Listening to Ming Yue's departing footsteps, Xia Hong slightly shook his head. It's unclear if it's driven by a hunger for power or truly for the 2 children, but since Li Xuanling successfully gave birth, her small actions have increased significantly, and Ming Yue and the other 4 maids have clearly become her little informants. Lu Yang, standing below the platform, now showed a slightly excited expression. Having just been asked if he used a sword, and then immediately Ming Yue was sent to fetch a sword. It was self-evident what Xia Hong intended to do. This time, by clearing the hidden passage, you not only found the 7 families of Baining Mountain, but also discovered Mo Mountain and gathered information on the 9 towns of Mo. Though it can't compare to Su Ning bringing back 110,000 people, it is still a significant achievement. After saying this, Xia Hong paused for a moment of contemplation, then turned to Xia Chuan and said, award Lu Yang with 300 military merit points. Yes, Lord. Military merit points. Lu Yang was suddenly stunned, then extremely excitedly bowed deeply to Xia Hong, saying, Your subordinate thanks the Lord, long live the Lord, long live the great Xia. To get 300 military merit points on the battlefield, one would need to kill 3 cold resistance level or 300 earth-digging realm limit soldiers, which is almost impossible without warfare occurring. Crucially, military merit points, besides accumulated portions, can be converted into contribution value. Currently, the conversion rate of the camp's supply department for military merit is 1 to 100, so 300 points of military merit amounts to 30,000 points of contribution value, which is no small sum, even for Lu Dong. According to your report, the 7 family village-level camps of Baining Mountain, plus several large and giant camps, clearly exceed a total population of 400,000. Naturally, they can't all be annexed in a short time, but if you manage well, you are certainly capable of earning the military merit for a nobility rank. I'll be waiting to see if Great Xia's 4th 8th rank Chixil Marquis will be you. This subordinate will exert every effort and will not disappoint you, Lord. Xia Hong smiled and waved his hand, just in time for Ming Yue to return from the star-picking hall. She held a longsword with both hands, her expression unusually strained, yet she persevered in bringing it to the platform and handed it over to Xia Hong. Swishing. Differently from Ming Yue's struggle, the longsword felt light as a feather in Xia Hong's hand. When he unsheathed it, A sliver of silver cold light immediately reflected into the eyes of the three in the hall. This cold wing sword was crafted by Mu Dong last month. Inside, it's made of 10,000 forged level iron material, and the outer layer is wrapped in 2,000 pounds of silver. It's considered a fine piece from the artifact refining pavilion, and not many in Great Xia have access to such a weapon. Liu Yang's eyes had long been focused on the sword. He appeared not to listen to what Xia Hong was saying, as if he could have written "want" on his forehead. "Haha, it's a reward for you." Xia Hong sheathed the longsword and tossed the cold wing sword directly towards him. "Thank you. Wait, there's also this feather light sword technique. You can read it here in the hall, remember it well, then hand it to Xia Chuan." Liu Yang paused for a moment, took the martial arts skill thrown by Xia Hong, quickly opened it, and after reading for a while, his expression became immediately excited. A 50% increase, even more potent than the long fist form, Lord, this technique. This is a new sword technique I've created. Together with these 44 other volumes, Xia Chuan later place them on the top floor of the martial arts pavilion and have the camp supply department set a criteria for borrowing. In the future, all camp members can use contribution value to exchange for borrowing rights, but remember, it can only be used for personal cultivation. If anyone is found teaching others, they will be banned for life from accessing the martial arts pavilion. Xia Chuan took the cultivation technique, flipped through it briefly, and his expression also became excited. He quickly bowed and said, "Your subordinate obeys." After Xia Hong finished speaking, he stood up directly, looked at Liu Yang with a slightly serious expression. "When you returned to Xia City just now, you should have seen the changes there. The development benefits brought by the martial arts, artifact refining, and alchemy pavilions have not yet been manifested. What we Great Xia need now is time. So when you go to the new settlement, you must be vigilant against external spying. If, when gathering intelligence, you let others trace back and expose everything, then both you and Zhao Hu's 7 will lose face. Even if I don't punish you, you 7 won't be able to raise your heads in Xia City. Do you understand my meaning?" Hearing Xia Hong's earnest instructions, Liu Yang's demeanor became more solemn, and he nodded solemnly. "Rest assured, Lord, I will carefully select elites tonight and will act cautiously at Baining Mountain, ensuring no one approaches the hidden passage, nor lets anyone obtain any bit of information regarding Great Xia." "That's good. I will have Yuan Dao keep an eye on the new settlement. If you encounter any difficulties, feel free to seek his help." "Thank you for your concern, Lord. This subordinate understands." "All right, you both may go now." Upon hearing this, Xia Chuan and Liu Yang respectfully complied and exited the political hall together. Xia Hong stood alone on the platform, slowly turning to look at the map of the Great Xia at the back, his eyes resting on the upper east side of the Hankyang settlement. Far surpassing Twin Dragon Mountain by tenfold, or even dozens of times, this Mo Mountain is genuinely vast. It seems I should make time to see it in person. Chapter 892, Chapter 339, Changes in Li Hu and Yang Zhang, the Hu family's opportunity, giving advice. The third year of Great Xia, September 9th. The former South District of the Outer City, now the East 2nd District, residence number 188. Huff Kleng. In the martial arts arena on the first floor of the residence, Li Hu and Yang Zhang each wielded a Mo blade over a yard long, exchanging moves in martial arts practice. The cultivation of both appeared to be equally matched. Their reactions to blade clashes, fist and foot exchanges, and body collisions were nearly identical. However, with a closer observation, one would notice that as the sparring lengthened, Yang Zhang's breathing rhythm was clearly accelerating. Clang! Finally, Yang Zhang made the slightest delay in lifting his blade, which Li Hu seized as an opportunity for a horizontal slash with his Mo blade, sending the blade flying out of Yang Zhang's grip and his body hurtling 3 to 4 meters away. "It doesn't make sense, Huzai. Why does it feel like our basic strength differs by more than 1,200 jin? Have you advanced in cultivation again?" Yang Zhang got up from the ground, picked up his Mo blade, and turned to look at Li Hu, his face full of amazement. 3 days ago, they had tested together, with Li Hu's basic strength at 43,900 jin and Yang Zhang's at 42,700 jin. During the recent sparring, it was clear to Yang Zhang that Li Hu was exerting force more than just 1,200 jin above himself. The only explanation was that, in these past 3 days, Li Hu's basic strength had advanced further. But his assumption was evidently wrong. Li Hu placed the Mo blade back on the armory rack, turned and smiled. 3 days is not enough time to advance cultivation. It's martial arts. My long fist battle form has broken through to the small success realm. Yang Zhang then realized it, but his face still showed envy. The long fist four forms is martial arts practiced by everyone in Great Xia. When the two arrived in Xia City last October, they encountered it for the first time. Long fist is divided into four forms: small battle, battle, scattering hand, and combined battle form. The final combined battle form is for group encirclement, currently reserved for Xia City soldiers to train, while others can only choose from the first three forms for cultivation. Like most people in the camp, Li Hu and myself practice the battle form, the main offensive technique. 2 months ago, I reached the entry level, while Li Hu is already at the small success realm, indicating that his martial arts talent is far superior to mine. King Yuan power can only enhance explosiveness by 10%, but when Long Fist battle form reaches the transformation realm, the enhancement is 30%. Apart from combat talent, this 20% difference in explosiveness is enough to crush others of the same level. Great Xia's courage in making such a valuable technique widely available is why they could eventually unify Longyu. The basic strength of the body is not the same as explosiveness. Force application requires skill and constant training. Those without inherited cultivation techniques, even after a long exploration, achieving explosiveness equal to 100% of their basic strength is already considered strong. King Yuan power, uniquely created by the previous leader of Long Mountain, Li Tianhua, is the sole martial arts technique governing Long Mountain. Previously, Long Mountain mandated that only those at the earth-digging realm limit could train in it. Although Li Hu and Yang Zhang grew up in Long Mountain, they only got access after breaking through to the earth-digging realm limit last year. With only a 10% increase in explosiveness, the restrictions set by Long Mountain are so high, while the Long Fist four forms providing a 30% increase are made available by Great Xia without any restrictions, and can be exchanged from the camp supply department for just 10 contribution value, allowing almost everyone in the camp to practice it. Thinking back, when Long Mountain Station fell to the attack last year, when so many faced the Cloud Jiao army helplessly, even those at the earth-digging realm limit were no exception, it all made sense now. That Li family bunch thought King Yuan power was a treasure and set such high barriers for cultivation, but it only led to their downfall, clearly showing that shutting oneself off is just self-emasculation. Only by opening one's heart, removing restrictions, and improving everyone's strength like Great Xia can the foundation and overall strength of the camp grow quickly. Yang Zhang clearly wasn't thinking as deeply as Li Hu. After hearing this, he merely nodded and smiled lightly. It's not just King Yuan power, Great Xia's cultivation resources are so far more abundant than Long Mountain's. Beast Essence Pill, Beast Spirit Pill, Blood Spirit Pill, and the Yang Yuan Pill that we haven't even seen yet. The Blood Explosion Pill to increase strength. The Blood Sore Pill for healing. The Green Saliva Pill for detoxification. The Hot Wind Pill that dispels cold. There are dozens of types in the Dan medicine category alone. Plus, refined salt fine wine, which can increase cultivation speed while also satisfying one's palate, accompanied by the low-priced beast meat and beast blood. It's a completely different concept cultivating in Xia City compared to Long Mountain. The two can't be compared at all. And the wondrous martial arts pavilion, not just cultivation but living quality, is worlds apart. Compared to Great Xia, Long Mountain, and the other 11 giant camps in Longyu are like uncivilized lands. Upon hearing these words, Yang Zhang scanned the furnishings of the house, his face full of agreement. Having been in Xia City for almost a year, the two are already thoroughly familiar with everything in the city. Thanks to the great achievements they made last year and being rewarded with a large number of contribution value, they not only made rapid progress in cultivation using resources from the camp supply department, but each purchased a plot in the East 2nd District to establish their own individual residences. Number 188 is Li Hu's home, and his home is number 194, not far away in the vicinity. By the way, how much contribution value do you have left? When asked about contribution value, Yang Zhang shook his head and sighed. Just over 3,800 left, how about you? A bit over 5,200, not much more than you. They exchanged glances, both showing a hint of helplessness on their faces. Chapter 893. Chapter 339. The Changes in Li Hu and Yang Zhang, the Hu family's opportunity and advice, Part 2. According to the balance of their contribution value, it is actually not low now, but considering last October, They were rewarded 50,000 points of contribution value at once by the minister, plus 30,000 points converted from 300 military merits, dropping from 80,000 to a few thousand. The consumption is indeed a bit astonishing. The key is that these two are not the type to sit and eat away their resources. They established a Zheiyuan squad in Long Mountain last July, going out on hunts, gathering, and exploring regularly without missing any of it. Under such circumstances, the speed of contribution value consumption is so fast. There's no way around it. Buying land and building houses cost over 10,000, high-level beast meat, high-level beast blood, blood spirit pills, 100 forged Mo blade, 100 forged thunder QE golden armor, fine salt wine, healing pills, strong bow of up to 30 stones. Of course, on top of that, we spent heavily to buy special slots for martial arts pavilion cultivation for 2 days. Just this alone cost over 6,000 contribution value points. Even though contribution value was substantial, it couldn't withstand us spending it like that. Upon hearing Yang Zhang's words, Li Hu immediately smiled and nodded. Living in Xia City alone naturally wouldn't consume so much contribution value, but both of them were not content with mediocrity. Seeing so many cultivation resources in the camp's supply department, how could they resist? In the first 11 months, they went to the camp supply department almost every month to buy all the cultivation resources they could at the maximum limit. For beast meat and beast blood, they used high-level ones. For earth-digging realm limit cultivation, blood spirit pills have a monthly limit of 10 pills which they didn't miss for even a month. Refined salt, aged wine, healing pills. They bought almost everything available. Not to mention the weapons, war armor, strong bow, and those essential pills for going out that Yang Zhang just talked about. Especially at the end of last year, they got their slots for the first time, entered the martial arts hall for cultivation once, and upon coming out, they never forgot the feeling of rapid improvement. The previous month, the Lord demonstrated divine skills, upgrading the martial arts hall to the martial arts pavilion, increasing the slot numbers to 1,000. To meet the demand in Xia City, the camp supply department auctioned 100 slots daily, and the two couldn't resist but bid twice, spending over 6,000 points at once. No matter how plentiful contribution value is, it can't withstand such expenditure. Though the spending was substantial, the improvement was also significant. In just a year, my basic strength increased from the limit of 30,000 pounds to nearly 44,000 pounds now. If we were in Long Mountain, our cultivation speed wouldn't be this fast. Upon hearing this, Yang Zhang's expression brightened up. Nodding vigorously, he whispered a question. Hu Zai, what's your skin remodeling progress? Considering your high martial arts talent, it should be battle body talent, right? In the Xia Lai System chapter, it specifies that when the earth-digging realm limit breaks through to cold resistance level, there is a distinction between battle bodies and non-battle bodies, specifically based on the basic strength limit during the skin remodeling stage. In the skin remodeling stage, if basic strength can enhance to between 100,000 to 150,000 pounds, it's a superior battle body. Anything above 80,000 pounds is medium, 60,000 pounds is lower. Non-battle bodies progress to the step-by-step limit of 50,000 pounds. Of course, there's also the top-grade battle body, above 150,000 pounds. After breaking through the cold resistance level, basic strength can be doubled. So by this calculation, even a lower battle body would have a basic strength of at least 1.2 zong, 2,000 pounds more than a non-battle body at cold resistance level. A 2,000-pound difference in basic strength can essentially determine life and death, not to mention the subsequent gap between the two would continue to grow. Currently, there are quite a few people at the cold resistance level in Xia City, and it's common to hear of someone breaking through. Different from other people who only focus on breakthroughs, the circle at the earth-digging realm limit is concerned with the battle body talent of the breakthrough individuals. Both of them are part of this circle, so naturally they care about this too. Li Hu is naturally well aware of the content of the 4 chapters of Xia Li, especially matters regarding the battle body. Since he is currently at this stage, he clearly has understood quite a bit, solemnly responding. I feel like my skin remodeling stage is only about 20% complete. Hearing Li Hu's answer, Yang Zhang's expression froze for a moment, then turned extremely delighted, saying, 2% and you've increased by 14,000. Doesn't that mean you still have a limit to increase by 56,000 pounds? At 100,000 pounds, you're a superior battle body. Li Hu's expression also showed some excitement, but his personality is calm, quickly settling down, shaking his head. The refining chapter states clearly, the stage sense during skin remodeling is not necessarily 100% accurate. The remodeling becomes harder as it progresses, and some couldn't endure the pain and directly broke through. Whether I am a superior battle body will only be known upon breakthrough. Yang Zhang held a much more optimistic view, continuing. If there's a premonition, then it certainly is. That's great, a superior battle body, I've heard. There aren't many superior battle bodies in Great Xia right now, counting Director Yuan, Director Q, Vice Director Luo, Lin Kai, Lu Yang, Su Ning, Yue Feng, Zhao Long, Zhao Hu, etc., barely over 50 people altogether. Compared to Xia City's current population of over 60,000, 50 indeed counted as extremely rare. Yang Zhang, although unclear of how many cold resistance level exist in Great Xia now, could be sure superior battle body among them is indeed few. His good brother Li Hu is one of them. How could he not be happy? However, Li Hu's vision was evidently much broader than his, shaking his head. I've heard, once Director Yuan, Director Q, and these people you just mentioned break through, their strength exceeds 2.5 zong, meaning their basic strength during skin remodeling stage already exceeds 125,000 pounds. I cannot compare to them, let alone there are ones even mightier above them. Chapter 894, Chapter 339, The Changes of Li Hu and Yang Zhang, the Hu Family's Opportunity, Advice Part 3. Speaking of this, Li Hu paused slightly, his pupils revealing a look of astonishment. The last time I submitted prey to the camp supply department, I heard that when Director Yuan Sijing broke through, his basic strength approached 6 manes, enough to crush ordinary late-stage cold resistance level masters. And Minister is even more terrifying, with a basic strength exceeding 6 manes upon breakthrough. Even if we train to death, we might not compare. Yang Zhang's expression froze upon hearing this, then he shook his head with a bitter smile. Speaking like this, Li Hu's talent in Xia City is really nothing special. He suddenly thought of something and whispered to Li Hu. Hu Zai, do you know what our Lord's basic strength was when he broke through to cold resistance level? Upon hearing this question, Li Hu furrowed his brows in thought and recalled the night when Long Mountain was breached, remembering Xia Hong's divine posture as he bent the iron stake wall with a single kick, his eyes still filled with involuntary amazement. I don't know, but it must be beyond our imagination. Both of them fell silent for a moment, finally tacitly skipping the topic. Li Hu thought of something and suddenly asked, by the way, we're setting off for East Ridge tomorrow night. Have you informed all the team members? All 18 members have been notified. After Yang Zhang answered, a hint of curiosity appeared on his face. Hankyang was suddenly demoted to an ordinary outpost, and the original 7 departments are moving to East Ridge. Why didn't Lord Lu bring people from Hankyang directly but return to Xia City to select 500 people? Did you hear the reasons, Hu Zai? Upon hearing this, Li Hu's brow furrowed slightly, his face full of confusion, but he quickly shook his head with a smile. Whatever the reason, it must be a good thing that our Jade Yuan squad was selected to go to the new outpost with Lord Lu. 3 days ago, when I went to the camp supply department to receive the notice, I saw the list. Among the 500 people going, ours is the only low-level team. The remaining 480 people, 80 are members of the East Sun and Steel Main 2 advanced teams, and the remaining 400 are full members of 8 intermediate hunting teams. And I heard from Lord Hong Tian that this opportunity to go to East Ridge is extremely rare, with a high probability of earning military merit. Many intermediate squads in the East 2nd District are desperate to go, but were all eliminated by Lord Lu, who instead called out the name of our Jade Yuan squad. Hong Tian is the defender of the East 2nd District, evidently the one responsible for recruitment this time. Upon hearing this, Yang Zhang was momentarily stunned, his face instantly showing a look of surprise. Opportunities to earn military merit, indeed, make many people eager to go. Obtaining a noble title grants the qualification to ascend the hall and meet the Lord, along with various treatments associated with the title. Not to mention the transcendent status after gaining the title, just the annual noble salary is enough to drive everyone in Xia City insane. They are no exception, but only one low-level team among 500 people. And many intermediate squads were eliminated, while Jade Yuan squad's name was called. Yang Zhang pondered for a long time without finding a reason, so he continued. I've never heard of the place name East Ridge, and it's not marked on the map of the Great Xia in the camp supply department, so it should be a newly discovered territory that can connect with other camps, thus providing opportunities for military merit. Li Hu nodded heavily, his expression excited. Both of us have currently accumulated 300 military merit points. If we are moved to East Ridge this time and can acquire another 200 military merit points, then we can obtain a noble title and ascend the hall. A noble title and ascending the hall. Upon hearing these 4 words, Yang Zhang's face was full of shock. Yet this time, he was unexpectedly a bit more clear-headed than Li Hu. But such a precious opportunity, how could it fall to us? Even if Lord Lu truly needed a low-level hunting team, there are at least a dozen low-level teams in the East 2nd District stronger than us. In response to this, Li Hu's eyes clearly flashed with some conjecture, but he said nothing. Could it be? Yang Zhang reacted at this moment, but his words were cut off by an aged voice. What else could it be? The newly discovered East Ridge outpost has immense strategic value. Anyone with insight can see that going there means military merit, so not only do people from your East 2nd District want to go, but there are also many people from the inner city looking for Liu Yang. Were it not for Liu Yang's prior explanation that no other advanced teams would be taken besides him and Zhao Hu, his doorstep would probably be trampled down. Madam explained in advance, and coupled with the old man's brazen request for his help, this opportunity was sought for Yu Zheyuan's squad. As the voice fell, Li Tiancheng, dressed in white, also stood in front of them. Li Tiancheng's mood was evidently good lately, and despite his grandson and grandson-in-law glaring angrily at him, he showed no anger, maintaining a gentle smile as he looked at them. The hot-tempered Yang Zhang stood right up, not treating Li Tiancheng as an elder at all, and said in fury, Article 18 of Xia law states no one shall trespass residences in the city. Article 19 of Xia law states the prison department, when investigating cases, has the authority to enter any residence in Xia City temporarily. Since you're so familiar with Xia law, you must also be familiar with Xia Li. The ritual chapter of Xia Li also specifies that any civilian meeting a noble must perform the subordinate ritual. Furthermore, the courtesy of filial piety in the ritual chapter states one must perform a bowing ritual to blood relatives of elder generation. Since you revere Xia law and Xia Li so, it stands to reason you will not defy it. Come on. This old man is waiting for your ritual. But unfortunately, before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Li Tiancheng. What followed from Li Tiancheng stifled his expression immediately. Chapter 895. Chapter 339. The Changes of Li Hu and Yang Zhang, the Hu family's opportunity, Advice Part 4. Only now did Yang Zhang remember that Li Tiancheng in front of him is currently the director of the prison department, one of the 7 departments of Great Xia. He even participated in the compilation and formulation of the Xia law. How could you possibly contend with Li Tiancheng over the Xia law? As for Xia Li, that's even more impossible. He is Li Tiancheng's grandson, and Li Hu is Li Tiancheng's grandnephew, both naturally lower in status. But neither seemed willing to simply yield to Li Tiancheng. They stubbornly refused to bow and salute, causing the scene to reach an impasse. Li Tiancheng naturally wouldn't use his authority to oppress and force the 2 juniors to submit. Seeing their stubborn demeanor, he chuckled lightly. All right, I was just teasing you. I understand you're upset with the Longshan Li family, but the Longshan Li family is no more. What do you have against an old man like me who's on the brink of the grave? Li Hu and Yang Zhang's expression became somewhat complex upon hearing this. They knew of Li Tiancheng's age. You've been in Xia City for almost a year and haven't come to visit me or the lady even once, proving you have some ambition. The Longshan Li family is history. Even if there is a Li family today, it can only be the East City Li family or the East City Yang family of Great Xia. If you still resent what the Li family did in the past, strive to become stronger soon. Let the new Li or Yang family not repeat the mistakes of the Longshan Li family. Your opportunity to go to East Ridge was arranged by the lady. I've not many years left to live. From now on, the only help you can count on will be from the lady. Xia City is vast, but establishing yourself there is not easy. Without a patron, you can't even enter the inner city, let alone talk about being ennobled or attending court. After hearing this, Li Yang and the others fell silent. They're not foolish. How could they not understand the meaning behind Li Tiancheng's words? In terms of blood relations, Li Xuanling is Li Hu's aunt and Yang Zhang's maternal aunt, so whether they like it or not, they naturally belong to her faction, thus connecting with the Longshan system. Li Hu and Yang Zhang, having been in Xia City for quite some time, had seen and heard a lot, so they instantly comprehended the meaning behind Li Tiancheng's words. Of the 500 people Liu Yang is taking to the new outpost, nearly 70% are veterans of the Redwood Ridge system, 20% are from the Mirror Valley system, and apart from your Zheiyuan squad, only Hu Jing's son Hu Bing is leading the Jin Han team. Just from the personnel configuration, you can tell how significant the matter of the East Ridge outpost is. So not only must you seize the opportunity and contribute to Great Xia, but also continuously monitor the new outpost. If anything important occurs, report back to the Lord and the Lady promptly. Seeing the two, who at first resisted, now showing hesitation, a trace of amusement flashed in Li Tiancheng's eyes. He didn't tease them further, just turned and walked outside, leaving a message. The new Hankyang garrison commander is Lord Zhang Jieling, whom you know. If there's important news at the East Ridge outpost that you can't leave to report, you can entrust him to bring the message back to Xia City. I've said all I needed to. If you really don't want this opportunity, just inform the East 2nd District Supply Department. Li Tiancheng departed, leaving only Li Hu and Yang Zhang standing there. They glanced at each other, seeing the conflict and eagerness in each other's eyes. There's no other way. As long as we live in Xia City, we can't erase the imprint of the Longshan system. If we continue defying like this, we'll only invite ridicule. He's right, the Longshan Li family is already history. Our next goal is to continuously grow stronger and establish our own Li and Yang family. Then, I don't want to miss such a good opportunity. Then let's go to East Ridge together. The inner city, a residence 200 square meters large, located far from the main building. Hu Jing and his son Hu Bing sat opposite each other. Unlike Hu Jing, who was leisurely sipping a drink with closed eyes, Hu Bing's face was filled with urgency. Father Yu Bin, Dong Zhang, and Wu Ningyuan joining the Longshan system is one thing, but now even Zhang Qingyuan, Lu Yin, Wang Glai, Lin Yi, and our Zheiyang cold resistance level are all rushing to flatter Li Tiancheng. Hu Jing opened his eyes to see his son's anxious expression and shook his head with a smile. Li Tiancheng is one of the 7 department's directors and half the Lord's father-in-law. It's natural for these people to do so for their future. Why are you so anxious? Hu Bing was stunned, looking up at Hu Jing, full of confusion, not believing that his father couldn't read between the lines. But as Hu Jing remained silent, he could only grit his teeth and speak frankly. Among the 3 factions merged into Longyu, the Longshan system already had the most people and power. The Beehive system has fewer but pledged allegiance earlier, clearly earning more trust from the Lord. Our Longbei system itself doesn't have many people, and now Yu Bin, Dong Zhang, Wu Ningyuan are switching allegiances. Even Zhang Qingyuan and the original Zheiyang foreign surname cold resistance level members are siding with the Longshan system. At this rate, our Longbei system is truly going to fracture and be marginalized. What Longbei system? You and I now have only one identity, that of Great Xia people. Can the Longshan system, Beehive system, Li Tiancheng, Chen Yingyuan, and Peng Bo openly declare themselves in Xia City? That idle chatter from the gossipers, do you take it seriously? How foolish. Upon hearing his father's scolding, Hu Bing was left speechless, and not out of fear, but because he couldn't understand why his father was pretending like this. Chapter 896, Chapter 339, The Changes of Li Hu and Yang Zhang, the Hu family's opportunity, Advice Part 5. The Lingbei, Longshan, and Beehive factions in Xia City have long been an open secret, and I don't believe Father didn't have the idea of uniting with the Longbei faction to rise to the top echelons of Great Xia. Something must have happened to cause such a drastic change in Father. Hu Jing clearly understood the thoughts in his son's eyes and shook his head slightly. Don't think about contending with Li Tiancheng anymore. With Li Xuanling as the Lord Lady, whether or not we align with the Longshan faction, Yu Bin, Dong Zhang, and others won't follow us anymore. Not to mention Zhang Qingyuan, Lu Yin, Lin Yi, even Hu Ming, Hu Quan, Hu Ying, Hu Tong, and Hu Ming are likely to gradually turn to Li Tiancheng. In the future, don't mention the word Longbei faction again. Just calmly be a Great Xia person and cultivate to become strong. As long as you have strength, your time to shine will eventually come. Upon hearing this, Hu Bing fell silent. Hu Jing knew his son was still unwilling and sighed slightly. If the Longbei faction really could become established, how could he ignore it? Unfortunately, the foundation of the Longbei faction was simply too weak. Not to mention comparing it to the Longshan faction, it was far behind even the Beehive faction. The Longbei faction seemed to have more people than the Beehive faction, but since he defected from Xia Hong to join Great Xia, he naturally wasn't as favored by Xia Hong as Chen Yingyuan and Peng Bo. That's secondary, but what's key is that even his own nephews Hu Ming, Hu Quan, and the other three have issues with his defection. If his own family is like this, how much more so Zhang Qingyuan and Lin Yi, the four other Xuanling-level outsiders? The Longbei faction inherently lacked cohesion, and disintegration was inevitable. Fortunately, now that he's aged, he's not deeply invested in power. Coming to Great Xia, he's encountered so many new things over the past year, which is enough for him to be content in his later years. His son has some ambition, Hu Jing knew, but he understood his son's abilities even better. With the strength of an ordinary cold resistance level, now at a mid-stage cultivation with only the basic strength of 5 tusks, not even considering intelligence and means, even if pushed forcefully, there's unlikely to be a good outcome. Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Qiu Peng, Luo Yuan, Lin Kai, Yue Feng, the Zhao brothers. There are simply too many outstanding people in Xia City. Of course, since his son aspires to rise, he certainly wouldn't let him fend for himself. I've arranged for you a position at East Ridge, so prepare well. If you truly want to climb up, you should seize this opportunity well. You may not have such a good chance again in the future. East Ridge position. Hu Bing was slightly stunned and asked in confusion, "Isn't it just a new station? How can it be a good opportunity?" Hu Jing shook his head and explained, "Didn't I give you the list this time? Haven't you noticed that out of the 500 people Liu Yang is taking, 90% are old Great Xia hands?" "I noticed, but what does this signify?" "It signifies that he wants trustworthy people. He doesn't trust those who came over from Longyu last year. This means that the East Ridge post is extremely important. I shamelessly went to see the minister when I heard Li Tiancheng put his grandson and the Zheiyuan low-level team in, and I arranged for 50 slots for your Jin Han team as well." The minister only allowed the Zheiyuan and your Jin Han teams in, which equates to trusting you 2 teams, trusting that you can be like the remaining old Great Xia hands. So, when you go to East Ridge this time, you must perform well. As long as you make merit, you will catch the minister's eye, and wouldn't your future be secure? After listening to his father's explanation, Hu Bing suddenly realized, his eyes gradually brightening. He hadn't considered so much before. Now, after listening to Hu Jing, he realized that this was an opportunity for their Hu family, a chance to gain trust from the minister and even the Lord. If they could gain trust from the minister and the Lord, then the Longbei faction or whatever would truly be irrelevant. "Father, I understand. I will perform well on this trip to East Ridge." Hearing his son's words, Hu Jing nodded in satisfaction. On the second floor of the inner city main building, Liu Yang was being noisily drawn to his seat by Yuan Cheng, Qiu Peng, Yue Feng, and others. "The Lord even rewarded you with the cold wing sword." This cold wing sword was specifically crafted by Mu Dong for the Lord in May, made from 10,000 forged fine iron, wrapped in 2,000 pounds of silver. Tusk, there aren't many like it in all of Great Xia. You're more impressive than Su Ning. It's inevitable. That's East Ridge, with more than 400,000 people in Baining Mountain, plus the discovery of Mo Mountain and Beishuo Town. It's likely the other 8 towns will soon be found too, and that's a massive achievement indeed. Helatu. Seeing the envious looks in everyone's eyes, Liu Yang was naturally filled with pride, as everyone present were old Great Xia hands from the Mud Slope era, having unbreakable ties, so he could laugh heartily. Everyone knew he was leaving tomorrow. Yuan Cheng had specially returned from the Beipo silver mine, and Yue Feng happened to return from Long Mountain to report. As for Qiu Peng and the others, they had simply stayed at the base. Everyone had already learned about East Ridge from Xia Chuan, so they understood how great Liu Yang's contribution was this time, continuously congratulating him at the table. However, after 3 rounds of drinks, Liu Yang still showed a hint of trouble on his face. Qiu Peng, sitting next to him, noticed this and immediately joked, "What? Already worried about advancing to a higher noble rank?" Helatu. Everyone burst into laughter upon hearing this. Liu Yang also laughed but still shook his head and said, "I'm just thinking about how to annex other large camps once I reach East Ridge with 500 men. Direct confrontation might not be good, and negotiating seems abrupt, and they probably won't agree." "Oh, just for this." Upon hearing this, Yue Feng kept shaking his head, and when he saw Liu Yang looking at him, he smiled and advised, We have so many cold resistance level people in Xia City, just find a few to play the bad guy. Wouldn't annexing a few large camps be easy? Lu Yang's eyes lit up and he immediately raised his wine glass to Yue Feng in gratitude. Thanks for the advice, Brother Feng. I greatly appreciate it. It's all in the drink. Come, 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 let's drink. Tonight's aged wine is on me. Generous. Yang Zai is quite something. Then I must get him to drink 2 more pounds. Ha ha ha, Yang Zai has struck it rich. We must have a good drink on him. Chapter 897. Chapter 340. Seclusion, Growing U Generation, Family Banquet, Rapid Development. As the night of the 10th day of September descended, Lu Yang set out with 500 men to East Ridge, while Su Ning continued to oversee Huayuan. The preparations for Great Xia's dual expedition eastward began in an orderly manner. Both Lu Yang and Su Ning possessed top-level combat body qualifications. Their basic strength was close to that of a 3-maned upon breakthrough, and currently, at the mid-stage cold resistance level, their strength is that of an 8-maned. Since the Eastern expedition concerns Great Xia's future grand strategy, Xia Hong is naturally uneasy about leaving it entirely in their hands. That's why he had Xia Chuan personally oversee Huayuan and sent Yuan Dao to watch over East Ridge. One is a minister, the other is the most powerful director. They are currently top experts in Xia City. Moreover, each holds command over the Cloud Dragon Army and Dragon Martial Army. Should any unexpected incidents occur, they would likely be able to handle them. The orders given to Huayuan are to explore as much as possible without expanding, ideally to quietly gather comprehensive information about the entire north bank of the Xing River, and then determine whether or not the area outside the North Shore truly falls within the sphere of Beishuo Town's influence. The orders to East Ridge are, as a new camp, to establish a foothold around Baining Mountain, coexist with the 7 village-level camps there, and take advantage of the exchange opportunities to gather more information about Beishuo and the Mo 9 towns. Ultimately, the essence of both instructions is to lie low at first. At this stage, the priority is to scout information about the 9 towns, aiming to buy more time for Xia City to fully convert the benefits brought by this round of building upgrades into power. The capacity of the martial arts pavilion was just increased from 200 to 1,000. The medicine field of the alchemy pavilion has only transplanted a dozen precious spirit plants like the red sun fruit, cold beard grass, and double-colored liquid spirit fruit. Cheng Feng is attempting to transplant the cold apple tree from Long Mountain that is near death, but it is still uncertain whether it can be successfully revived. The artifact refining pavilion is still attempting to cast 10,000 forged weapons. The production of 1,000 forged weapons is still low. 1,000 forged thunder QE armor is still in the research stage, and although the production rate of beast-suppressing weapons is slowly improving, most are still primarily 100 forged weapons. There are only 45 martial arts skills in total, which is clearly too few for the over 600,000 people in Great Xia Camp. A lot of valuable fruit plants have been transplanted into the 3rd-level Black Land. The production capacity of refined salt, spiritual wine, Dan medicine, and other goods has only just begun to increase. The transformation requires time. Of course, the most crucial is Xia Hong's own cultivation. From the partial information Yang Li and the others revealed back then, the cold resistance level is certainly not the pinnacle of power in Beishuo Town, and the same goes for the other 8 towns. Hence, for Great Xia to venture east to the southern slope of Mo Mountain and contend with the 9 towns, breaking through to Xianyang level is fundamental, but may not even be sufficient. Thus, my cultivation remains the utmost priority. At the star-picking platform, Xia Hong sat cross-legged on the Enlightenment Divine Lotus, his expression solemn. Though Su Ning and Lu Yang are not extraordinarily strong, they have stable dispositions, executing orders without compromise, further assured by Xia Chuan and Yuan Dao watching over them. Thus, Xia Hong can temporarily rest assured about Huayuan and East Ridge. Next, I must devote myself wholeheartedly to cultivation, first raising my basic strength to 72 manes to complete the 3rd round of blood and flesh reorganization, thereafter channeling medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing to break through to Xianyang level. After a moment of contemplation, Xia Hong opened a medicine bottle before him, poured out a Yangyuan pill and swallowed it down, beginning cultivation. Though not fasting at the cold resistance level, one can pre-store energy from substantial eating, a capacity that can be continually improved. Xia Hong is currently capable of only needing to eat every 3 days. He had previously notified Han Yue to bring food to the star-picking platform every 3 days, ensuring no interruptions during this time. On the 5th day of September, when he last emerged from seclusion, Xia Hong's basic strength already reached 54 manes. At that time, he estimated that it would take less than a year to increase it to 72 manes. By then, channeling medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing, breaking through to Xianyang level would come naturally. Currently, as long as the camp activities are confined within the Pingxi Plain, Great Xia essentially faces no threatening enemies, and with Xia Chuan and the 7 divisions present, matters in Xia City demand no concern from him. Driven by a desire to break through to the Xianyang level, Xia Hong commenced his first wholehearted secluded cultivation since arriving in the Ice Abyss world. While he was secluded in cultivation, the camp was rapidly enhancing its overall capability by converting various benefits brought by this round of building upgrades. The time flew by in the blink of an eye, and it quickly came to the 4th year of Great Xia. On the 5th day of August, at the edge of nightfall, the cold sun in the sky, though gradually dimming, still relentlessly infused the land with cold air. While there were still several light sources remaining in the outer city, the vast majority of people were already asleep, with only a few diligent captains from mid- and high-level hunting teams and personnel from the 7 divisions waking up early to start preparations before night. In contrast to the outer city, though the inner city was smaller, many more people bearing the cold light were evident on the streets, often greeting familiar faces, stopping for a word, their low voices adding a hint of liveliness. The area around the main building, however, was noticeably quieter, especially at the rear under the star-picking hall. Though brightly lit, with the holy tripod's fire clearly visible at the center of the roof, and occasional sightings of maids passing through the porch, the overall atmosphere was silent and solemn. After all, it is the Lord's residence, the most crucial and mysterious place in Xia City. Whoever looks up at the star-picking hall from below would feel a sense of solemnity and awe, aside from the overwhelming fervor, of course. Chapter 898, Chapter 340, Seclusion, Growing U-Generation, Family Banquet, Rapid Development. But unexpectedly, at this very moment, the solemn and sacred star-picking hall suddenly echoed with the tender voices of 2 children. A dad find play. Star platform, find dad play. The child's voice came from directly beneath the star-picking platform. It was clear that both children were still at the age of learning to speak. Although their speech was not very clear, the meaning was expressed unmistakably. Your Highnesses, you can't go there now. The Lord is in seclusion for cultivation. Go once, Dad. Go, I wanted to. Sister Han Yue, today we're holding a family feast to celebrate the birthdays of their Highnesses and young Master Yu Ning. The Lord should be coming out of seclusion soon, right? Still, you can't disturb him now. It's not even dark yet. The star-picking platform isn't covered. Your Highnesses can't go there. Oh right, how dangerous, I almost forgot. Hurry and take their Highnesses back. It's almost night, they should rest. Understood. Why? They. Clearly, the conversation had broken down. Directly beneath the star-picking platform, in the main hall of the Great Hall, 2 toddlers who had just learned to walk were struggling in the arms of Han Yue and Han Shuang, reaching out their little chubby hands, constantly grasping towards the staircase of the star-picking platform. The one on the left wore a white little dress, with 2 exquisite red simurgs embroidered at the hem. The water-blue holy pattern on her brow glowed brilliantly in the firelight. The one on the right wore a black and gold little robe, rich in color and similar to Xia Hong's attire. His brow had a gold-red holy pattern, reflecting the firelight, revealing inner flowing lava, incredibly mystical. Both little children had just turned 1 year old, inherently endearing in their delicate and jade-like appearance, coupled with luxurious attire, meticulously tended to by Han Shuang, and the maids that anyone who saw them couldn't help but adore them. Especially now, both wanted to find their father and did not want to be carried away by Han Yue, Han Shuang, and the other maids. Reaching out their chubby little hands to the entrance of the star-picking platform, they cried inconsolably, evoking even more pity. Nevertheless, Han Yue and Han Shuang could not truly let them go, and could only grit their teeth and carry them out of the hall. But it could be seen that the continuous struggling and crying of the 2 toddlers made the steps of Han Yue and Han Shuang slightly staggering. The strength of the eldest has become increasingly great. My basic strength is nearly 28,000, Yet sometimes she can take me by surprise and escape. Carrying Xia Yusheng, Han Shuang heard her sister's words and responded with a wry smile. We were all right. The last time Nang Ying carried the second prince, she wasn't paying attention and he escaped. As a result, the second prince fell to the ground and the lady was very angry, nearly banishing her from the star-picking hall. And Yue clearly knew about this too, her face showing a trace of post-fear. Looking at Xia Yuya, who was crying and fussing in her arms, she smiled wryly. Their highnesses haven't started cultivation, yet 2 months ago, just after weaning, they began eating supplementary foods made of beast meat and red crystal fruit, and their strength increased by over 100 kati. At this rate, before they start cultivation at 6, they could break through to the earth-digging realm. Upon hearing this, Han Shuang and a group of maids nodded slightly, then looked at the crying Xia Yuyao and Xia Yusheng, their faces showing both shock and helplessness. Although Xia Yuyao and Xia Yusheng had turned one, based on what the Lord verbally said at their birth, to step out of the star-picking hall, they could only rely on themselves. Now they were afraid of even the high edges of the porches, let alone the 30-meter suspended ladder connecting the star-picking hall and the main building. They didn't dare approach it. So until now, neither has stepped out of the star-picking hall at all. Never having gone out naturally meant no contact with those in the camp. Therefore, aside from their special traits known only to the Lord, the lady, the minister's family, and Li Tiancheng their grandfather, perhaps only these 10 or so maids in the entire Great Xia were aware of their unusual features. Putting aside the mysterious aspects of them, just their innate basic strength of 5,000 kati at birth was enough to crush all the talents in Great Xia. 2 months ago, they had just started eating supplementary food without needing cultivation. Their strength automatically began to increase. If this got out, those geniuses in the martial arts pavilion, who were busy breaking records day in and day out, would probably go crazy. The Lord and the Lady are not ordinary people, and their highnesses, as their offspring, naturally possess talents far beyond common people. Furthermore, today's Great Xia is different from before. Their highnesses' platforms are getting higher and higher in the future. Your highnesses, why have you stopped fussing? And Yue's thoughts were suddenly interrupted by her sister. Lowering her head, she realized that Xia Yuyao in her arms and Xia Yusheng in her sister's arms had suddenly stopped crying and quieted down. Giggling, Daddy is here. Not only had he quieted down, but Xia Yusheng also started laughing. Then Xia Yuyao's words immediately made all the maids turn their heads and look behind them. Greetings to the Lord. It turned out that while they were holding the 2 young highnesses, they had unconsciously reached the entrance of the main hall. Behind them, the entrance to the star-picking platform had quietly opened at some point. Xia Hong now stood in the middle of the great hall, making funny faces at the 2 little ones who were facing him. Rise, the family feast will be held right here in the main hall. You can start the preparations now and notify Xia Chuan after nightfall. Understood. Han Yue nodded and cupped her fists, preparing to leave the hall, only to realize she was still holding Xia Yuyao. After receiving Xia Hong's signal, she and her sister released their grips together. Chapter 899, Chapter 340, Seclusion, Growth of the Yu Generation, Family Banquet, Rapid Development Part 3. Dad. The 2 little ones, no longer restricted, immediately rushed toward Xia Hong. Of course, because their walking was still unsteady, it was more of a stumbling crawl than a rush. No worries, you all go about your business. I've got my eye on them. Seeing Han Yue and the others looking so nervous, Xia Hong waved them off, signaling that everything was fine. Then he clapped his hands towards his son and daughter, encouraging them to continue walking toward him. Whether it was due to the girl's naturally weaker physique or not, Xia Yuyao, despite her efforts, was overtaken by her brother. In no time, she was left behind by about 3 or 4 meters. Why? Seeing her brother about to reach their father's arms first, Xia Yuyao sat down on the ground and started wailing loudly. Xia Yusheng was initially still running forward, but having heard the crying behind him, he was drawn back. He turned his head to look at his sister before taking a few more steps toward Xia Hong. However, after thinking for a moment, he unexpectedly stopped. Sis, you come, wait. Hearing the slowly forming words from Xia Yusheng's mouth, a glint of surprise appeared in Xia Hong's eyes, and a look of satisfaction crossed his face. Knowing to let his sister win at such a young age. However, this boy seems to be at a disadvantage. Xia Yuyao seemed to understand her brother's words. After standing up, she tentatively walked a few steps forward. Seeing her brother was not moving, she suddenly sped up, jogging toward Xia Hong. After overtaking her brother, she jumped directly into Xia Hong's arms. He. The tearful Xia Yuyo, once in Xia Hong's arms, started giggling uncontrollably. She even turned to point at her brother, her little face full of smugness. Why? Halasa. Seeing his son realize he had been tricked and start crying in bewilderment, Xia Hong could not help but burst into laughter. Silly boy, getting tricked by your sister, what are you crying for? With Xia Yuyo in his left arm, he stepped forward and picked up his son with his right hand, gently comforting him before turning to look at his older daughter, his eyes full of mirth. They say you can see a person's future at 3, but even at 1, you can already show signs. Being this mischievous at such a young age, I suspect you'll be quite a handful when you grow up. Handful, oil lamp, oil lamp. Hahaha, all right, you are a handful, an oil lamp. Xia Yuyo had already started mimicking adult speech. Not fully understanding the whole sentence, she kept repeating the last few words. Her adorable antics naturally made Xia Hong laugh even more. Xia Hong sat at the head of the round table in the main hall, teasing his children. While enjoying this family happiness, he also began to review in his mind the grueling training session that had lasted 11 months. It was just as I thought last year. It didn't even take a year. By the end of July, my basic strength had surpassed the limit of 72 strands, completing the 3rd round of blood and flesh reorganization. However, these past few days, I've been researching the changes in my flesh and blood after this 3rd reorganization, and haven't started channeling medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing yet. It seems a year just isn't enough. If someone who understood was nearby, they would notice that Xia Hong wasn't breathing through his nose or mouth at the moment. His breathing started from within his blood and flesh, proceeding through the pores of his skin membrane. After the 3rd reorganization, not to mention the strength of my flesh and blood, my control over the internal organs and flesh is now on the same level as my skin membrane. Not only can I move my internal organs, but I can also freely manipulate my body's muscles and even alter the density of my flesh and blood. Hovering briefly is no problem, and by the same token. Xia Hong's eyes flashed slightly. After 3 rounds of blood and flesh reorganization, the next step was bone tempering and marrow nourishing. If he could subsequently enhance his control over his bones to the level of his skin membrane and flesh, wouldn't this mean he could also change the density of his bones? The ice abyss world is never short of cold winds. If he could truly control body density at will, then riding the wind to fly would naturally follow. Cold beasts at the Beast King level can fly. The clues can be seen in their bones, not to mention the bone pill located between their eyebrows. Although humans and cold beasts are not alike, there are some parallels in cultivation paths from which we can learn. Having yet to channel medicinal power for bone tempering and marrow nourishing, Xia Hong was still somewhat clueless about the Xianyang level. But, thanks to the projections of the Enlightenment Divine Lotus, this bit of understanding was enough to support his subsequent cultivation. After the 3rd round of blood and flesh reorganization, I compared my physique with that of the Frost Wolf King. My flesh and blood strength now rivals that of a quasi-Beast King level cold beast, meaning, unless a true Beast King acts, no cold beast can break through my defenses. Even if they could, I can adjust my internal organs' positions and mobilize my flesh's abilities to reduce damage, making me almost undefeatable. In other words, as of now, undefeated below the Beast King level. In his heart reciting these 7 words, Xia Hong was incredibly excited. Reflecting back 5 years ago, when he could only rely on a small torch, scouring the outskirts of Redwood Ridge for cold beast corpses, he could never have imagined that today he could utter such a statement. Xia Hong turned to look toward Long Mountain in the northwest. A hint of temptation flashed in his eyes. However, after pondering for a while, he quickly suppressed it. It's better to play it safe. The small silver mine on the north slope should still last at least 2 years. Currently, there's no crisis or urgent need, so there's no point in taking such a huge risk. Better to continue cultivating and aim for an early breakthrough to the Xianyang level. Only then will I be invincible.